source is a secret. The source is a song. I breathe through you, baby, like I rip through a bone.
On your
horse. I must find the horse. To the source! To the source! Ride wild! Ride free! You and me, partner, forever be the true and very source.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to As the Wheel Turns. We're getting ready to turn this wheel. We're getting ready to spin some awesomeness into existence. How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh, I was just smiling so big. My cheeks already hurt. That brought me great joy.
Dude,
Agreed.
isn't that pretty? Just the 90s UFO. I mean,
Yeah.
totally pre-AI. It's like
Ugh.
this phenomena that's everywhere. And people are like, here's my camera. I'm trying to help.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
that was a greatest hits reel. And didn't you find yourself being like, oh, right, that one. Oh, right, that's Argentina. Like, oh, that one was Oregon. And, and like, we know them.
Pie plate, yeah.
Right.
Oh, dude, and that one in Mexico City, I remember when something that looked very much like that. It was like just some crazy District 9 level ship just floating over Mexico City, just not explaining its presence.
I took a couple notes. Can I tell you the notes that I wrote down during this intro?
Yes.
Because this is like what happens when you're confronted with awe, the sublime, the unexplainable. And I was like, well, there is so much bliss in undefinability. The awe comes in the space of unrecognizability. And so that's like really beautiful. That's the meaning of the sublime. So that was one note I had. And the next is that the pursuit of like this intangible thing to try and harness it and make it mundane is both like so tantalizing and age old so far as I can tell, and like soul destroying in a way.
You're concretizing something that would rather remain in the ephemeral.
Yes.
It would
And is
rather
perhaps-
you not tack it down.
Yeah.
Right. It might even have more value in the ineffable, you know?
Like that's
Yeah.
where its power comes from, is being in everything, so it can be in nothing. And so as it comes into form, it intentionally limits itself in some way. And it's like,
Yeah.
but aren't we talking about the mystical and the religious here? Let's
Exactly.
introduce everybody. I'm Reverend Paul.
Perfect.
This is my sweet wife, Reverend Lakshmi Ananda. Go ahead, Lakshmi Ananda.
Hello.
Can you hear her? Okay.
Yes, we can. Hi, Lakshmi Ananda.
Hi. Hello.
Excellent. Lakshmi is going to be behind our Mother Mary card here today, but we're gonna have a great time with this campfire chat. Please introduce yourselves, friends.
My love.
Wow. I'm Neon. That's my actual name, and sometimes people are like, well, what's your last
that your
name?
name?
And I'm like, do you know other Neons? Because like, if not,
Do you need more decimal points on my IP address, or is that gonna do it?
oh, Neon, I know him. Right. Anyhow,
That's right.
And wow, a great introduction, you know?
Neon comes to us from the clouds. He was given to us from the land of emeralds and crystals. One day we were hanging around in the valley, and there was this incredible light over the side of the edge of the creation, and it felt like the local star itself was leaning over. And out of this brilliant light comes this dude wrapped in these towels of light and awesomeness, and he walks into our fold, and then it was Neon, and he had some words to say.
You nailed it. Yes. Okay, the rundown is that I'm an ecstatic at the end of the day, and the ecstasy is what goes into all the things I do. You know, I am an artist with some geometry and paint. What pays the bills is I'm like a brand director, you know, I also really love cats. I mean, just God, what haven't cats done for us? I am also a first-hand UFO experiencer as well.
Yes.
Dude, that is a very bold statement, and that is beautiful. We're gonna let's get into this. Have it on film, dude.
Wow.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is amazing. But let's talk. But Lette, Lette? I met Lette one day. I was hanging out with a couple of crows, and we were just like shooting the shit. And they were telling me about this crazy, wonderful lady that they knew. And the way they were talking about her, I was like, "There's no impossible way that this is real." And then, no, but then I followed a crow. It flew down to Gunnison, Colorado, and it was like, no, this person's over here. It was just like insanity to meet you. My good friend Lette.
So good to meet you. The living pinata was my first introduction to you, and it was just so right. Scattering the candy.
Yeah,
about the world.
Those photos, I was like, oh, I get it. Everything is transmitted. It was like a hologram. I understood the whole from that one slice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
See,
I'm Lette. I'm Lette. I'm on the other side of the spaceship here, co-piloting with Neon, and just like to drop right into the red hot center of the story about awe, wonder, and the nature of existence. And I'm a first-hand experiencer of just a lot of crazy shit.
Yes, you guys both came on my radar as pretty awesome mystics. And but Lakshmi Ananda, you are an author, and you are the author of the forthcoming book, The Ascension Manual, which is a practical guide for people off the street to go from zero to hero, with hero being a transcendent journey into an upper world filled of many crystals or light, but basically inhabited by the source or God, and very safe and a very wonderful journey. We're working on this. We're working on this shamanic text and on its accompanying little mini community that like kind of helps people understand it. And this is a project you've been working on for 2 years, and that's why I thought you'd be the perfect person to join us. I'm so glad that you're here, even though Lakshmi, her whole life changes in like about 2 months. And she's going through all these
5 weeks, but who's
professional
counting?
changes and stuff like that. This is a little taste of like universally awesome stuff that we're going to be doing very soon.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be here and be invisible. I appreciate that.
Heck yeah.
I always love hearing your voice.
Thank you.
This is technically the second podcast in this series, As the Wheel Turns. The first one was me throwing on my podcasting gear that we were playing around with this summer and running down the hill here in Denver, out of Evergreen, down into the city of Denver. And I prayed for these 3 spiritual hotspots that I had sensed and had this crazy, wonderful experience that I somehow caught some percentage of it on that tape. That's the first episode in this one. This will be the second episode. This one's a live one. This is our campfire, man, where we can talk about crazy stuff. And as promised in the introduction, do you see all those crazy 90 UFO images? I mean, it's like, this is, okay, Lette here runs this thing called Image Word Mystery. And I think that's a really cool set of words to put together, because it does touch at the heart of what we just experienced. You can see a straight up miracle, clearly not faked, caught on like camera, one after another. That is not enough.
Yeah.
That does not move the needle in an image saturated environment that we are in, right? And so this is an attempt to actually move the needle, because yesterday we had this thing happen.
Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know.
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so
Well,
if you
maybe I'll
want to
get him
make
out
an
of trouble.
announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by...
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying. Okay, so exactly what is here to be declassified? The nature of the phenomena that we just saw on all these images that our government has professionally gaslit us to the nines for like 80 years or some shit. They're like, no, there's something there. Now, JFK was assassinated in your generation, and it stunned a generation by being this crazy violence. And then the Zapruder film came out like 14 years after that or some shit. And that actually showed it happening. And that was another stunning of the whole thing. Young people got pulled into Vietnam, and Oliver Stone served as a Marine in Vietnam, saw the inside of the war pig war machine beast, like in a way no one should ever have to, and instead of it just chewing up his soul and killing him, he came out of it and like made all these movies about it. And one of them he made was JFK, and it was so stunning to the public to have this revelation of information that they passed the JFK Act, because they had like this huge trove of files that they did not release, the JFK files, and they said, you got 30 years, wrap up your shit, they all get released in like 2024. They did not do it. And then they pushed back the deadline, and then they released a big chunk of them, but they still kept a huge number of them back, right? So that is an experience that happened in the 60s that was crazy. They had the church commissions and stuff, and they reset a bunch of this. But the reason why it's so nice to be with everyone, and apologies for all the enthusiasm here, but the reason why it's so nice.
We never apologize for the enthusiasm.
No.
Dude, you can read about it. You can read about aliens. You can see them from the time you're a child watching E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is based on Project Blue Book, and Jacques Vallée has a character in it where they've been recording this stuff ever since they've been painting on walls. They've been drawing pictures of UFOs and little space humans and shit. And we're at an inflection point right now, like today, right now, where people are going, "Are you fucking serious?" Like I wrote this off in the biggest way possible because you said to write it off, and you freaking promised it was not true, and now you're like saying there's something to declassify here. This was that Trump video was part of a back and forth. Obama spilled the beans, and it might have been because the Epstein files are coming out. So they're like, what's the biggest tub of duty we can knock over around here? And they just kind of fudged it off. They were saying, somebody was saying he might have given a speech on it where he did a little disclosure this summer on July 8th, which is the history of the anniversary of the Roswell incident, which is which is where the CIA gets formed in like the weeks after it, and with this crazy mission to like protect this information and so anyway, there's a big old can of worms there, but they think that this might have been pushed up by this whole Obama saying some stuff. It got international news. He responds on the plane like this. The entire world picks it up, and now he made a tweet last night, in the middle of the night, that said, "I am directing all agencies to release the files on UFOs through great public interest."
Who said that?
Trump said that.
Okay.
Like last night, we know there's files on it. Start releasing them. Which prepare for JFK 2.0, and then there's Epstein 2.0, and then there's it is an epistemological shock to people that it's true. But the real test here, I think, is like our bureaucracy of government somehow disclosing what it knows or what it might have in its archives or whatever. By the way, government means govern means the control of, and ment means the mind. Government's the control of the mind, dude.
So 100%. I've been thinking about the meaning and the implication of the word disclosure. That the one who discloses, there is an implied power dynamic. Like power is an underline of the word disclosure. Yeah, who controls the knowledge has the power, right? And so when I think about like that specific word and the we're in all the weird corners of the internet where people are we read the Anomalous, we read the like Daily Grail, places that are doing roundups of news in which you might find this type of information. Their latest news cycle was obviously all about this. We keep up on the news of the day,
Yeah.
But the like disclosure has become a unique term unto itself for this moment in time. Not like, are we alone, which has a totally different term.
That's it. Yeah. What does it mean if we're not? Like, what are the implications if we're not? I really
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I just was going to say, so I had this note from earlier that feels so related to disclosure and governing of the mind. I said, how interesting. We're in the era of open secrets and of denied realities. And this seems to be at the intersection of both.
Every single person that grabbed their cell phone clearly in like 98 and like shot, whatever that montage opened up with.
Yeah.
Every single one of those people was sitting there going, "Wait, what?" Like everything that they prepared me for. They sent me to school. They gave me education. They gave me a library card. I went to the library, and none of that's listed in there. I asked the experts. They all said that it was crazy, that none of it existed. But there it is it's right there. Right there.
Right. So we've been asked to deny, those of us who might have had first-person experience have been asked to deny our own realities, and what a tool of power that is in its own right. But Neon, I would love to hear your voice.
No. I'm vibing.
Dude. Okay, so there's the transformative principle of a miracle. I've always found this fascinating because I think that there are personal miracles and then there are group miracles. And personal miracles are things that really change you. But like literally one person next to you, they could like very easily do a little mental hand wave, and it's just not a thing for them, right? The sphere of influence is very limited, right? It's like a limited explosive, it's like a detonative thing. This kind of stuff, where Trump gets caught out, where he's like clearly like covering for the fact that he's like, there's no bases, there's no this, he's clearly heard a lot of stuff, right? There have been almost 2 years now of congressional investigations where they were going to pass the UAP Disclosure Act. There are literally hundreds and thousands of people in the federal government who have worked on technological programs who are like, I got burned. They have a whole VA category for, not to just try to convince or whatever, but like they have this whole VA category for like radiation burns that come from like being around these like crazy machines that can like do this stuff, right? And but what I'm saying, so there's a huge number of people who would literally lose their pension, their livelihood, and would go to federal prison for life if they said one word about it based on the current laws. So the text of his executive order will make a really big difference, and it could provide cover for an enormous number of people who wish to come forward and just like say, dude, let me tell you about this thing I was working on.
Right. Trickle down or
Yeah. Well, and I think it also like begs a question about, well, it asks, at any way you examine it, right? It asks you to make wide leaps of faith, right? To trust a lot of people at their word with zero evidence to back up anything they're saying. Now, this in no way disproves, discredits, right? I'm sure that there are so many that have actual legitimate interactions with it, right? But Lette, thinking about what you were talking about of using disclosure as a means of power, right? Or a means of societal influence, right? I think to your point, I think I'm less, I don't care who says it. If like, whether it's, Putin, whether it's a yogi in India, I don't care who says it. My interest is in really the impact, right? If it is to be true, I mean, you really have a lot of foundational systems, right? To the point of it being almost a faith in a way, that where you're like, well, okay, Abrahamic religions don't have a lot to cover this territory, right? Other faiths and other culture systems do, and it really doesn't bother them. They're just like, oh, yeah, we've known this for 3,000 years, you dummies. You're not coming up with anything new right now. You're just getting to it now. Yeah.
I doing some research into this. There was an analysis done. The Buddha talked about there being many thousands of worlds that one could incarnate into before and after this current life, and so there was this galactic pool of possibilities of places your soul could go to learn. And his point was not fundamentally different than what we're doing here. So get back to work. It's like kind of like not a big deal. But yes, and we're lacking that in the West. We have kind of the opposite of it. Like science, the way science in the West was discovered is people went outside and said, "Huh, what is that?" And then they figured out air and temperature and just a bunch of things that we had no. Jack Frost used to come around and kill you, not the cold air.
Right.
Jack Frost. Gotcha.
That's
it's like this total myth.
That's when the split between material science and spirit became split, which has not always been so and isn't currently so in many places, but definitely is true in Western culture, where the immaterial is invalidated completely, and all that remains is the material and the quote unquote scientific. And so we've lost the technology, which is spirit, to be able to fathom this stuff.
And in many cases, we lack the space for it as well, like the context. I mean, for it.
Yeah. We've been divorced of context long enough in our culture. I think that it's like we don't have the technology to deal with this. This
it's
illogical.
It's like an inner myth-making technology in a certain way. This deep dive I was doing was looking at the profile of experiencers. And they were looking at scientific studies of experiencers, and they were looking for things like, do they have a lot of false memories, or do they make stuff up? And it was like, no, they don't.
No.
Statistically, they don't do anything more in that area than normal people. But the people who seem to be the ones showing up when they're like, who's seen a UFO or whatever, are the ones who have a deep reservoir of inner space and sensitivity, where when these experiences imprint upon them, they don't have to reject them out of hand.
That's
and
right.
Say, that didn't fucking happen. They can say... They can give you some words back about it and fill out the paperwork, the MUFON paperwork. Yeah, I saw this thing over my house. You got a video of it? It's on my sister's cell phone. It's like, they're real. And then it's like, doesn't go anywhere. I want to drop this piece in here. It reminds me a bit of the Catholic Church and how they handle their miracle hotline. They have a miracle hotline. They've been operating since the Middle Ages, where if you have a miracle go on, you can just be like, oh, get out the paper and like write it down and like send it into the miracle hotline.
It's totally MUFON. Amazing.
It's MUFON for miracles.
Wow.
It's run by the Catholic Church.
Which is the name of my new ska trio. I don't know if you've heard us.
Tell the whole name. What's the whole name?
MUFON for Miracles.
MUFON for Miracles. Dude, it was so much fun. The opening stylings were just burying us 20 minutes in. That was the Tactical Pancakes, and that was that song is called Rebel PBS, and it is called the Wow Signal, which is a SETI thing where they had this big dish pointed at the heavens, and they got this crazy signal that lasted a certain number of seconds, and they could not explain it away. It was like they caught like some MTV from Sirius or something like that. There's a little speck of it.
Yeah, there was some recent, I think they probably used AI or something, but to do some more study on that. They're thinking that it is a specific type of radio star event that that is just like insanely rare. But of course,
it's super powerful.
Right, but of course the wonder is it?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
because you can't catch that light again. That light cone has left the building.
That we named it it's the wow signal after her response, right? Like,
right.
Wow.
That on the paper, yeah.
Wow. Like, what is
It's about the wow.
Okay, she's capturing. We have this wow signal. She's writing it down. She's capturing it from the ethers or whatever. This is where the miracle hits the road, dude. This is where the rubber hits the road, because you can see a miracle and have no explanation for any of those frames that we were looking at. Like so many of those frames, and or at least have like some general idea, but not have like a conclusive proof of it. Should be mental proof enough that there's something there to see. However, we're living in the shadows of 80 years of suppression of this. And so history of this kind of in 30 years they'll think of it differently. In 100 years they'll think of it differently. In 300 years they'll think of it differently. In the same way that we think of things radically differently than the Middle Ages. But
totally.
Yeah. So I have a fun story about this in terms of about it being so significant and like making a change, right? And it's a contextual and I may have told you this story when we were there hanging out with you in the mountains.
Evergreen, Colorado.
Evergreen.
Evergreen, Colorado, the place you gotta be. Go ahead, please.
It really is. So my grandmother, who is 90 years old and has been a devout Christian her entire life, right? Mm-hmm. So she recalled to me a story of her grandmother who came running at like full tilt in from the fields, screaming that the Lord had returned. And wow. and she was like there for it, right? And they're like, Vanetta Bell, what are you talking about? And she points right to the sky.
Wow.
And this woman has never seen the condensation trail of a jet engine before.
It's her first plane.
It was the first jet engine condensation trail she'd ever seen. And in her world, the power of that was that what else could it be? I believe this thing so powerfully that to me, that's what it is. There's no other possibility of what it could be. And then for a moment, right? She was like, holy shit, I'm actually here for the return of the Lord.
Yes.
Like, that's fucking, can you believe my great
I'm alive.
fortune?
I'm going to see this happen. Yeah.
But there are ways in which I think for some, the idea of alien extraterrestrial life is a way to externalize that desire. I want there to be something more so badly, right?
Yeah.
I
want there to be a supernatural agency.
Yeah.
Right.
I want there to be gods and goddesses of some kind. I want a supernatural force in my life.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. More.
Yeah. And well, yeah. I've been yapping here.
No, that was beautiful, and I'm so glad that you told the story of Vanetta Bell. I think about it all the time. It's the perfect explication of this moment. I was thinking about my personal experiences, and this dovetails here. I have one experience with an unidentified flying object when I was totally alone. I had an experience with Neon together. And Neon and I have had an experience with a whole group of people. And I'm going to tell the story that we had with the whole group of people because it dovetails here. So we are camping in the middle of someone's acreage, just unbroken expanse of prairie. And people are crashed around a campfire, much like we are now. We've been playing music. We'd been swimming earlier, still hot, super hot summer night. And I don't know, there are maybe 10, 15 of us. And late at night, campfire vibes where your eyes are fuzzy. You've been staring at the fire for so long. And suddenly one of the guys in the circle looks up into the sky, and I see this total transformation come over his face. And he looks terrified and confused and like utterly captivated as we see a string of lights moving across the sky. And there's a moment in which everyone's attention joins his, and everyone registers his shock and this collective upwelling of just like, what is going on as we watch this march of lights? And then it dawns on someone that it's Starlink.
Yeah.
It's the exact same experience Vanetta Bell.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like, at any other moment in time, when you look up and see a moving fucking constellation, riding in perfect,
they're here for our resources.
That is an instant animal response of like complete obliteration of everything you know, fear. Everything is trying to reorganize in your brain. It makes no sense.
Over you, like complete control of the sky, which is clearly the realm of the gods. Like
clearly, clearly.
Well, and I think for me, it's the sense of the confirmation of there being an other, right?
Yeah.
When Lette and I were together back in 2017, it was our Valentine's Day sighting. I had just gotten back from a work trip, and we were just strolling our neighborhood. And I'll tell the whole story some other time, but long and short of it is we had this extended experience that we caught on video for like over 7 minutes.
Wow.
And what was more impactful for me, I think, than like, I was like pumped to have caught it on video, and like we did a whole MUFON investigation. They were like, not saying it's an alien, but we can't explain it.
Wow.
But that, for me, that paled in comparison to the enormity of like what I felt inside. Right? Where I was almost like, it was just like it's like when your stomach turns over, but like when your soul turns over, right? Like when you're like, oh, there's this thing I have believed to be true for so long, and there it is, and it's not fucking Starlink. It is, in a way, the Lord returned, right? It is a confirmation for me of this thing that I have always believed, but have never had the first-hand interaction with that could cause me to believe it so viscerally.
Tell me more about this experience you had. What was this? Tell me more about this.
Yeah, so we were out for a walk. It was probably, I don't know, an hour after sunset in North Portland, Oregon. And we are just out walking around.
Our daily walk, our normal route.
Our daily walk. Yeah, that we've walked 1,000 times. Yep. And so we look up in the sky and we're like, that's a weird light. Oh, is that a plane? Because we were by the airport. Right?
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
So we're like, And at one point in the video, a plane goes by and I cheer and go, plane for reference.
Because we're such nerds, we've seen so many of these where we're like, can we just get a point of reference here? Like,
yeah, right.
That's great.
And so anyway, it was a orange ball of light that remained stationary, but was clearly not a star. It was too bright and close for that. It then started to move laterally, and then it would stop and to sit there. And I'm like, well, it's a helicopter, right? Like, we've also got a military base over here. So, like, clearly it's that, right? But then it like splits into two, and then we notice a third one.
Wow.
And they begin to kind of move in concert. One kind of moves a little bit closer, and they form a rough triangle in the sky. And we are just trying to get closer and closer to it, right? So we just like have our phones out and we're just like sprinting down the street. We're like, we gotta get closer. Oh my God. At one point,
after.
we lost it, and I stopped, and this speaks to the whole psychic element of it, where I remember stopping and thinking, I would like to see you again. If I don't, and like if I need to not have the camera on, that's fine. Let me know.
Yes.
And then it like pops right back into the sky.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. So, and then I think eventually they faded. But they continued to move in interesting, like start, stop, midair, no collision lights.
Oh my gosh. That's like classic stuff for the
classic.
That's it. And the MUFON guy was just like, listen, like we checked the flight pads, we checked, you know, like we used like public records to like search, like get the military activity, you know, like all this stuff for that evening, and like, we got nothing for you.
Got nothing for you, dude. Okay, so and when did this happen?
2017, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I really remember how the sense of being affected by it, just being affected by it.
Like it changes somehow by being in it, by having the thing happen.
It just, there's that, you encounter a miracle, and it's a very somatic experience. You can't, it's not cerebral. It's a full body experience.
The thinking mind lets go. It's like, nope, I'm not prepared for this.
Right. Yeah. And I think that that's the element that I really yearn for in popular discourse, which we're not going to get yet, but I think we're close, which is to acknowledge what so many experiencers talk about, which are these kind of tangential, more freaky things. It's like, and suddenly I had telepathic communication, and suddenly I was transported. Like there are these things that it's like, okay, so if we move the line a little bit forward and say, okay, this exists, we have to examine all this other stuff that really rattles that foundation of that material, comfy, materialist world, because psychic phenomena and more other quote unquote paranormal activity is also so abundantly documented in these cases. So it's like, how much room can we make at a global level to let it, like how much crazy shit can we let in at once?
There was I was listening to some stuff around the telepathy tapes, and they're talking about psi, right? Like the idea that like we actually have like a psychic connection to each other and to our environment, and that we're receiving and sending information back and forth continuously, and we sometimes acknowledge it, and sometimes they were talking about this group of kids were talking about, and they were like, dude, what do you do with like the legal system? It's like all of a sudden you're like, dude, you cursed my house. It's like, oh, I'm going to take you to court over this house curse or something. Shama drama is the way I mean, it's described by people in the once you start to externalize the internal dream space, the personal myth-making space that you have, you can't, it doesn't, our world isn't designed, our words aren't designed to keep up with that. And like you can't, so it's like a collective agreement to suppress it.
Right.
And to tell, and everybody buys in that like, oh, I can't really sense what's going on. It's like, you totally can, like in a lot of ways.
But at the same time, we're having this psychedelic and consciousness kind of revolution of our time, in which people are in sanctioned pursuit of that. They're like, whoops, I accidentally figured out something about the out there when I was at a rave, and now I'm really interested in what else is possible.
A big problem for the Midwest, because it's like you drop like psychedelics in the Midwest and EDM in the 80s and 90s, and it's like all this consciousness, music changes consciousness. And if you drop electronica, it will take you on a journey of multiple hours, and you need nothing but water and your body to like in motion to the thing, and it'll work. So isn't that what it is? It's releasing altered states of consciousness can promote this sensitivity to this inner space of experience that feels a lot like dreaming, and it sometimes it does match up with what's going on around the world, and sometimes it's completely personal, and it's like too specific and too like a part of a person's personal myth upbringing and stuff like that. But then the world, okay, so aliens, UFOs, if it's been suppressed for 80 years, look at the burden that's been placed on art. Steven Spielberg, E.T.,
yes, exactly.
Of the Third Kind.
Exactly.
We've decided it's not real, and we're going to suppress the hell out of it for probably reasons we have. But now you're going to make art that kind of introduces people to the idea that it's available and there and not necessarily terrifying. Go. Right. Okay, now it's the 70s, now it's the 80s, now it's the 90s, now it's the aughts. Now, like, dude, we're like many years into the public reverse psychology art campaign to show us aliens.
Right. Like, but you can rattle off for every year that there has been cinema. You can identify like one of the most popular movies being about aliens.
Right, and
all the time, little cute ones, terrifying ones that'll get you in your sleep that look like monsters, ones that are like really nice and just want to teach you about shit. Pluribus, did you guys see Pluribus the show?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'm gonna crimp it right here. they have the SETI satellites up, and they get a signal, and they figure out its genetic sequence. They manufacture it. It escapes the lab. It conquers everybody's consciousness. Everybody turns out to go into a hive mind when they lose their individuality, but they're completely fine with it. And it's this creepy analysis of like how this all works. There's this one lady, Carol, who it won't affect. There's like 6 of them in the world or some shit, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And there's like, it's like it's a wild experience. But
Wow.
like, this is invasion of the body snatchers. This is invasion by consciousness itself and by biological entity. We just went through the pandemic, which is this on steroids.
Of
Biology coming into everybody.
Well,
It changes 4 ATGs around, and the entire world is like brought to its knees. It's like, what the fuck? It's a superpower, dude.
So I think one of the interesting things, like talking about the representation of extraterrestrials or UFOs, UAP, whatever we want to call it, it's interesting to look at how and when they are depicted. Right? Because one of the interesting things about when you are looking at a movie like Independence Day, right? Like like a blockbuster classic, just like so amazing, and the U.S. military was represented in it, right? They would not have been allowed to represent the U.S. military without U.S. military approval. Meaning,
and advisors.
Meaning, so the military constantly influenced the narrative of any movie which depicted it, right? And of course, in those movies, the U.S. government is always victorious against the aliens. Even if they take a whipping early on, they come back because they're scrappy, right?
Almost as if they lost the invasion decades ago and are like trying to slowly acclimate people to the idea that you're a vassal state.
Right. Right. And so I think what's interesting is that when you see aliens or extraterrestrial life depicted without the military in the scene, you frequently are given access to imagine them as different ways other than an aggressor to be conquered, right? You can see them as
like a Space Force commercial.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, right? Like,
for sure.
Starship Troopers was satire.
There's a real good reason why you got to give us these billions, dude. We're fighting off these crazy things. You've seen the movie Aliens.
The cockroaches,
Get ready to have your family eat in front of you. It's like, wait, what?
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
So when I think about another lens on this is it's like, well, why has it, if it has been repressed, if it's been so, such a powder keg for so long, why now, right? I think back to Richard Doty and Paul Benowitz, right? Fucking tragic story of someone, anyway, Paul Benowitz, he was like an aviator and like a pilot, and then he owned an electronics company that had like government contracts where he was making radar and electronics for them. Anyhow, he was accidentally receiving signals, like classified transmissions from the base that he lived next to, right? I think it's like Dulce, New Mexico. And so the fact of the matter is they killed him. They drove him insane. So specifically, there's this guy, Richard Doty, right? And Richard Doty will always try to paint himself as having been, really, Paul Benowitz's good friend, right? But ultimately, they just kept telling him he was right. They're like, no, dude, Paul, listen, here's the thing. You can't talk about this, man. This is alien stuff. And they just fed him months and months of information until it ruined him as a person because he lost his credibility, he lost his business, and they never extended a word, right? So I'm like, in that moment, it absolutely served them to push a UFO narrative that was in no way true because it served their purposes in a cover-up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they'll do it at that scale, a possibility is that they're willing to do it at a bigger scale.
let's think about where I'm thinking for a second. Let's think about where everybody's at with this. So like if you're watching this, we've got videos in the description that give us some of the background thinking on it. This is like we're right in the spot of the revelation here. You guys have thought about this for years. You guys are experiencers. You've had experiences. We've had experiences together and individually. And there is what you were saying, Lette, about if you are one of these people who have this kind of soft inner space where you are impressionable, call it having an artistic temperament, which is what it would classically be called, right? And and when an experience like this happens, it can form an impression upon you that you can then turn into something to give back as a story or words or whatever back to other people. That internal space, it does open you up. These kinds of experiences, because you're basically experiencing some kind of miracle.
Yeah.
Like Fatima and Lourdes were individual young women who saw the Virgin transform their life. The person right next to him can see it, but two people down, it's just a bright light. And then at the other end of the thing, it's just like there's something cool that happened here. It's like a radiant thing, right? It's like there's an epicenter, and then there's like a radiance of it. And there is But I think one of the things I was thinking about when I was kind of meditating on this was like, what would someone watching this be reaching for? And what you're reaching for is a place to put this shit, right? I think the only place to really do it is to go. All of our institutions have failed. They're all stuck. That's the point that I was making about the Catholic Church. The emails, the letters, the quill pen letters they're answering today are 250 years old by intention. So you send them your letter. They sit on it for 250 years, then they read it. And they read it and they go, oh my God, check this out. There was like a giant mudslide in like South America. And someone's abuela like stood up and said, you shall not pass or some shit. And it, like the whole thing moved. And it was like this, it was like the church is always looking for examples of the incarnation of divinity. That's what Jesus is to the church. It's like, God is there. It's a human. It has feelings and wants you to know about it and love and cry and loss and gain and the whole thing. And so anyway, when someone's like, my abuela did it, they're like, yeah, they'll get around to de-gaslighting you 250 years in the future.
Right.
On purpose. So they're like the office of like managing this inner terrain before it has a name. It's real good in our culture. Before it has a clear understanding. Before there are clear technologies that enable it and let it be like turned on and turned off in a lab. Somebody writes the white paper and then you're like good to go or whatever. But I think for me that's it. It's the reason why there's been such a lie is because it's super powerful.
Power. Yeah.
The tech is powerful. It destabilizes everything we know about energy production and time and space. It really makes the craziest science fiction like trivial when you get down to it. It's nuts. And then it's just if you were the one experiencing it, Like, wait, we could get into all that shit. But the other thing is that our entire thing, more money trades hands every year over this thing called oil than anything else in energy. And so if you literally give someone like a little box that makes all the electrons move you ever wanted to, all the electricity you ever wanted, and it works forever and it never stops, the whole reason people have to talk to each other just changed. And they won't talk to each other. We're at the craziest odds we've ever been with people. The last thing you want to do right now is give everybody their own space Winnebago, put a little star drive at the core of it, and then like mom and pop can like shoot off to another dimension and like take the kids with them and like set up shop somewhere else. How many times has this happened to humanity? Like, because once you have a diaspora like that, you can't control it. That's what a diaspora is. It's like, and then so some of this stuff might be us diasporing back from all kinds of. This is not these principles of our universe that we are rediscovering through this tech or whatever are eternal, probably, and so they've been around for forever, and there's nothing that says it couldn't have happened a whole bunch of times before, and we're like a little seed offshoot here. Tons of our sci-fi go down this road, but anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
And how many times? Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, and like that assumes that the technology is applied with altruism. Because when has ever a great discovery been applied altruistically for the good of every individual? We have very few examples of that being true historically, right? In fact, we typically see the reverse, right? Where it's that technology is used to shift a power structure or a
suppression of it is used to install one.
Right. So I think like even the idea of it is powerful, right? Like I don't expect, and perhaps this is even though I've seen a real one, I believe in the aliens. And I don't believe I'm ever going to get a straight answer. They can say disclosure, but it's what is valuable to disclose at the time. Just like the JFK example you gave earlier, right? So I don't expect necessarily... I would expect the changes to be cultural and based around ideas. Probably, I mean, I don't know. We're quick to commercialize stuff nowadays, so maybe it is everyone has a hoverboard in the next 5 years. I don't know. I'd be fucking into that. Just give me some hover armor for when I fall off.
I would support a basement nuke for the Lette Neon clan. I think that's amazing. I think you should absolutely have that. And
does it come with fast Wi-Fi?
Exactly. It comes with interdimensional travel is what it comes with.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Dude, you can go like a week in the past, like lock yourself in a room, get a bunch of stuff done, show up 2 seconds later with like complete shit. Like, dude, it's like
all the checks are in all the checklist boxes.
You just start looking like a superhuman. You're just like, I can bring resources from other points in space and time. Like, it's like insane.
You brought something up here that I really love because I was thinking about like what are some of the meta myths, the like meta narrative stories that we've been telling about about like contact day, right? About like the day when everything is revealed, right? And
this is
one
about
of
as close
them,
as you get when the fucking president of the United States says, "I'm releasing this shit." That is as close as we've ever gotten, as far as I can tell.
Right.
I mean, one of the finest pieces of cinema, I think that the way that they put it is
Mars attacks.
So good.
And you see it beautifully in that film where you've got the New Agers with their crystals and their tapestries. It's Neon and I in the psychic van, right? We're just like laying out there, blazed, and we're like, we see you beings who are here. And here's the second part. To unite the whole world. That's one of the narratives that we have woven around this hope, this myth that is like, that is one thing that will erase all division on this planet because it will have to unify all of us, and they come in peace and they come with wisdom and knowledge about the actual real value. Right, exactly, right. Infinite
replicators.
Right, on demand. Yeah, nachos. Boom.
We want your nachos. We would like to talk nachos with you.
And so, like that's one of those stories, right? That I think we grew up with, certainly seeing in cinema. But it's like a one kind of thread, kind of depending on how you're geared and what algorithm you're trained on. This is going to be the most world unifying thing that's ever happened. Now, I don't personally feel that vibe right now.
It's not like that.
And it's
going to be like kerosene on a fucking dumpster fire. It's going to be like, you thought you couldn't trust people before? Wait till you realize there's an entire department that exists outside of your temporal cone that can come and go and make things come and go, and somehow that's a part of you.
It's an existential avalanche.
What?
Yeah.
What? It's just, like, who's in charge of what?
Yeah.
Again? Like, what? It's like a Control-Delete, and it's like close all these tasks. We're gonna start.
Yeah.
Dude, love, you've been written down a bunch of stuff. You want to say some stuff? Jump in here.
Yeah, please.
Well, excuse me. I'm just remembering my first exposure to this, which was before any of you were born, and so my mom and I, like 1964 to 74, she had read the book Chariots of the Gods, and so we would jump in her car and go look for extraterrestrials over the graveyard, we would see a cloud that would have that shape and we'd be off. And so it was very much a part of my early childhood orientation that extraterrestrials were real,
Wow,
UFOs
beautiful.
were real. And then when the movie started coming out, my best friend from second grade, we would gather together, camp out in our front yard, and we would basically beseech the extraterrestrials, come get us, come get us.
Wow.
Like, we're ready, we're totally ready, come get us. And
Wow.
my friend Suzanne had very clear memories of having a most recent lifetime on Sirius. And she would talk about that because there would be like a bleed through between this reality and that reality. And all the books that I was drawn to read were
Wow.
like Jane Roberts' Over Soul 7 or
Oh.
2150 AD, which talks about living in one dimension during your conscious, but then jumping up to a whole nother reality once you slept, and both realities were equally as valid, equally as real. So this was the imprinting that I had as a 8-year-old to 18-year-old, and we
Wow.
were a part of a new age group called Unity, where all the cool adults were talking about extraterrestrials and
yeah.
experiences that they'd had. So it wasn't far
Right.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
it was far out like in groovy, but it
Yeah.
wasn't far out like unrealistic. It was actually
Right.
a part of our daily nomenclature.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
for
Yeah,
real.
Normalized,
that's so
yeah.
awesome.
Normalized.
That's
Normalized.
oh,
There's a flattening of culture now where you can get online and feel like you're a part of like the one nervous system, and it's so overwhelming that like one generation before it was all just the groups you were in. If you were in a
Yeah.
room with 3 people, that was the whole universe.
yeah.
And
I'm
it
so
could just
glad that you shared that, Lakshmi, because I'm really curious about each of our core orientations, like earliest orientations to this, because I also was raised in a house in which it was totally normalized and
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
reality. But I know that I suspect that you weren't. Were you, Neon?
Me? I mean, my parents didn't really believe in a lot of anything, period. We certainly, it was, we watched Unsolved Mysteries, right?
Okay.
We had context for the paranormal, let's say. I certainly was very much interested in it from a young age.
Sure.
I think by means of like cryptozoology, right? Just like,
Yeah.
like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster had me hooked. And then I
Right.
think what I
What's cooler?
realized, what hooked me was the mystery. It was the unknown that hooked me, right? And so I really, I sought it out myself. It wasn't something I was brought up with. But I was certainly immersed in it from a young age.
Yeah. What
By
about
choice,
you,
I
Rev
guess.
Paul? Yeah.
I wanted to speak, Neon. I know you were kind of brought up in an evangelical kind of way, more of a conservative kind of Christian thing. And I just wanted to go on record as saying that, like, a lot of the conservative Christians feel like it's like a pure demonic kind of thing. Like it's something to be avoided and like spiritual warfare against. Like stay away from it. It's not a terrible response, and it's kind of I can see
It's an
why people would do
understandable
it.
response in their
Just something
context.
You're not going to get any help from anything. There was we went back to the Buddhist thing where the Buddha said that there's like thousands of worlds out there and you can get reincarnated on any of them, whatever. St. Thomas Aquinas had this view where he said that there could be all kinds of possibilities for life on the universe. That's very foundational for the Catholic and then the Protestant faiths. St. Pio, Padre
Aquinas
Pio,
wasn't a Jesuit?
Right, the Jesuit, right, Jesuit.
Oh, okay.
There's just a father in the Christian faith. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
Padre Pio, he was when he was confronted with this stuff in like the 50s, he was like, dude, it's entirely possible that God actually pulled off a race that didn't fall, and doesn't need redemption. Therefore, our whole Jesus story is about redeeming us. So like, maybe it's not their jam. This guy was like a guy who was like getting the stigmata like during mass and like had these giant holes in his hand that would appear, and like he was bleeding, and he had all these psychic abilities. He was famous for walking in public and someone would be like an adulterer or something. He'd be like, "Adulterer!" He'd like shout him down, and they'd have this huge shaming event, but then they'd come to Christ, and so it was like he was known as like this person you just did not invite to dinner. Like,
yeah, buzzkill. Sounds like a real buzzkill.
Dude, if you want everyone's secrets, everyone's subconscious just thrown out at their face or whatever. It's like so crazy.
Wow.
I'm interested, when I talk about being really interested in the like cultural impact being what's really interested, or the part of it that really interests me, I think to that exact point, Rev Paul, right? There is an entire and not insignificant group of people who already, before any disclosure at all, they already believe these are legit demons. And they are willing to be violent against them in their context of spiritual warfare, right?
Dude, when you get down to the nitty gritty, the United States has probably been using like concentrated microwave beams to like bring these things down. They're the reason when you get into the deep shit, it's like the reason why there were so many atmospheric atomic detonations is we figured out we could scramble them. So they would do these things where they would like they would draw them in, and then they'd set off a nuke in the atmosphere. There's hundreds of these done. These things would fall out of the sky. They'd go pick them up. They'd figure out how fiber optics work, how the transistor works. This is like where a ton of this stuff comes from.
So you just said the deep shit, and this is perfect. Okay, the threat or the question, it used to be out there.
Yeah.
Outer space in its infinitude and unfathomability, they were way out there, and we're so alone out here. They have to have traveled so far, and it's so improbable. Now, the oceanic revelation has brought the threat home and has produced an underlying sense of alarm and manipulation and being observed, and
the idea that these civilizations could live under our oceans in like 5 or 6 hot spots, and they're completely insulated electromagnetically down there.
Talk about the shadow, right? But like, talk about the shadow. We have depths we've never touched on our own planet, and there be monsters.
Take your boat out to a certain longitude and latitude and hang out long enough at night, and you can watch stuff come in and out. There's tons of people who see these things, giant things come in and out of the water. Jeremy Corbell, the guy who runs Weaponized Podcast, he had like this crazy admiral come up to him and go, like, have this crazy conversation. Everything you're saying is true. He's like, dude, the movie The Abyss, it's not far off.
Well,
the ocean is terrifying anyway. Just by its vastness is just terrifying. But then add this.
Oh, God.
Right.
There's a civilization of like, well, that movie The Abyss is perfect, and that was like 89, dude. That was like there's this group of people, they're looking for limited resources at the edge of the world. There's this conflict between the Russians and the Americans up above. There's a giant storm involved. There's his wife that comes down, and they're estranged. He's like a pickup driver down there with his dudes, and they're all trying to figure it out. They have to go find this wrecked submarine, this nuclear submarine. These crazies they bring with them spoiler alert, they take one of the nukes, they take and they're gonna arm it and like send it to the aliens, and he has to go down and sacrifice himself to save it, and the aliens like
it was the military guys. That was it. The military had disguised themselves as just workers because they had orders to blow up the alien. That's right.
They lose their minds because of pressure sickness. It's the concept of it very much encapsulates. It's a very good story that encapsulates this idea that the consciousness that you use to address these things is going to determine a lot of the response. So if you're a fucking crazy monkey who's out here like, whoa, 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 you're going to get one thing. If you're like sitting down and like paying attention and just like, I'm sorry, what'd you want to talk about? Or whatever, that's like a different thing. It's like in the end of that movie, there's like this big moral lesson where they bring these tsunami waves up to the edge of all of the major cities, and like, we're going to drown you if you don't fucking chill out. And they go, okay. But they're like, just so you know, you're not in charge here, and it's fine, but you're not. Right. And it's like, that's the actual message into the monkey brain. Like, there is an intelligence above us, or whatever. Lette, before I drop this one, I want to get this one out. Dude, when I was fucking 10 years old, I went to the Smithsonian and we went on this like week-long thing of it, and I was going through all these giant like, limestone pillars, and we were in like the vaults of knowledge. Everything you ever fucking wanted to know was in there, right?
Yeah,
I'm in this fucking art shop. I'm like 10. I pull out this art book. I open it up, and it tells me about a conceptual artist who realized that the iridium satellites could be adjusted remotely so that they would catch the sunlight and they reflected on the earth, which would make a visual set of glassy pearls around the earth. And it was rejected because they didn't have a way to tell people in like remote parts of the world that this wasn't a problem.
That it's not the return of the Lord.
It's
That's
not the return of the
right.
Lord. It's not a divine message to you. It's a fucking iridium satellite that a couple of dudes have this, crazy cell phone plan before their cell phones, and it's like,
Wow.
but anyway, they rejected it. Obviously, we've gotten past that point. I remember the first time I saw a Starlink launch going up. I was outside. A bunch of dudes were out there tripping. We were around the fire. It was great. And it was like, and this thing comes up, and people were like, oh, we all knew it was Starlink. But dude, the sense that we were experiencing this heavenly event together, even with the scientific knowledge, it touches something different to see lights arranged in the sky, which is there. If there is a way to talk to our subconscious, that is really close to it. And look at the symbols that we're getting. Clearly, this technology can be anything it wants to be. And clearly, it's in charge of so much of it. A lot of people think the secrecy comes from them, not from the humans. That like the humans are like forced into the secrecy. It's basically like, do you want a place on the ship for you and your family or not, dude? We're gonna sink this
Right.
It's like whatever. There's a whole psychology to it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you have a super powerful AI and you're from the future, you can just run the algo on our little brains. You can see everything we've ever done. Boom, boom, boom. Here's how you manipulate a planet of these things. Who's to say that's not the fuck what's happening right now? And this whole you'll all be one thing and you'll be able to be controlled. We're a problem because we're a bunch of little tribes down here. But love, I wanted to but anyway, sorry, I wanted to drop that in there. You were saying about the Jane Roberts and Oversoul 7.
Yes.
That was a crazy literary mystical couple who, her and her husband, she would channel this Oversoul 7, and channeling gets a bad rap these days because it's like a bunch of, but there are some people like your Edgar Cayce's, your Jane Roberts, who are just clear vessels for something that is pretty nice. It's like it rhymes with the golden rule. The golden rule is the way that humans understand the basics of spirituality. Treat others as you would be treated. Jesus and Christianity. Love God with all your heart, your mind, your spirit. Love your neighbor as yourself. Golden rule. Every religion has it. And that's the main thing that's suggested in all these psychologies of contact is if you did meet an alien, what would you want to ask them first? What would be your approach? And do they deserve the golden rule? Because your answer to that determines your own spiritual growth. If you're an ant looking at a foot and it deserves the golden rule, you can still live with great honor as an ant, and you can unfold your own heart in this universe. It doesn't have to be a reality that crushes you. It can be, it's like that Zen monk who's hanging on the side of the thing and sees the strawberry. He can like eat the strawberry before he like falls off the edge. It's like just this one moment. Good.
So when you are imprinted, like I've been, with the idea that UFOs are our friends and UFOs are friendly, and you're much more aware of non-ordinary reality than you are ordinary reality, then all of my experiences are sweet and intimate and agreeing to provide eggs from my own body to create a hybrid race. I never knew what the hybrid race would be. I just knew that I had volunteered, I'd agreed, and that maybe one day I would get to meet some of my offspring.
You have to tell them this story.
And so I have I'm loving how the three of you are talking about this external. Mine is oh so intimate and internal. And I don't want really to be influenced by external because everything of mine has been relationship and intimate. And now that I've been writing this second book called The Ascension Manual and going on all of these upper world shamanic journeys to meet
Yep.
friends from past lives from the Pleiades, my home planet from Lyra, getting to meet the 6 children that were born from my eggs and from this lionesque race, and looking in their faces and seeing that they had a shockingly, startlingly similar countenance to my own being.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk about this shit. It's so
Wow.
intimate.
Yeah.
And it's so, like,
Intimate.
who's going to believe that? But it's so real to me.
So you'd be a good example. You're a good example of someone who has a powerful inner ability to dream and journey. Is like you're a shamanic practitioner, but you've learned the skill
Of course.
that you're practicing here, and you've practiced it for more than a decade. And it's your book explains the techniques for doing upper world journeys and for how to have it. But the that's how I think of it. Journeying is just a label I put to how do you take the soft inner psyche of like your own inner experience, like what is happening when you close your eyes, like the dream world you experience. How do you develop it? How do you understand it? How do you talk about it with other people? How do you spiritually like benefit from it? Because I think the fruit on the tree is like a really good way to think about this. Like when it comes down to practical, factual, some people hear this and it's like kind of out there, but the if it produces greater love, if it produces greater compassion, if it produces greater consciousness and empathy, these are great fruit on the tree.
Yes.
And so you can really judge. If you can't judge a tree, you can judge it by its fruit, and that's like kind of the lesson there. So anyway, to that abyss thing, that's let's say you were talking about the water stuff, and that's the big one. They catch these things the size of cities traveling at 300 knots underwater. It's impossible. You can't shoot. You take a gun and you shoot a bullet. It doesn't make it from one side of a pool to another because water is so frictious. And that bullet's a little tiny fast thing that's supposed to be able to. You're talking about something that's like crazy shaped and it's just like massive. It's like it's outside of what we should be able to do.
Rev Lakshmi, I love so much that you shared that intimate story, and I am so appreciative to get to have your experience and your wonderful sensitivity to the intimate in general in this conversation. And I was so hoping that we would get to hear some of this because Neon and I have had the great pleasure of getting to journey with you and experiencing shamanic upper world journey for me for the first time. And
Same,
I was just laughing here because I was like, of course I was obsessed with the depths of the shadow, basin of the ocean. Cause I'm like, everything is an underworld journey. And,
Awesome.
So I was really hoping to hear from both of you as shamanic practitioners, about the shamanic, angle on this, because that's a technology in many ways for integrating this stuff and working with it and being an 100%. Intimate relationship, first person, deeply intimate relationship with it.
Well, and I could say that my relationship with these beings is not actual, factual, real, like this reality. My relationship with all these beings from different planets and different dimensions and different realms I access through using a shamanic process. So it's very odd to try to articulate it here in this kind of reality because I would say that my experiences are as real as sitting next to Reverend Paul right here.
Hey, dude, I got to tell you, my inner experiences are so much more cohesive than this because we've got our sweet friends here on the screen. You're in this crazy green screen. I'm swimming in this like infinity of light over here. It's like this is way trippier than my inner world. My inner world's like prosaic and conservative by comparison.
Beautiful. Well said. So real. So real.
Dude, this is like we're doing some gymnastics out here. But so like I just wanted to pick up where you're leaving off there. Because you grew up with this awareness and consciousness cultivated by your mom. About extra, and you were 100% ahead of the curve Because
Yeah.
when Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out, go back and watch that movie, watch the director's cut of that thing. It is smooth. It is nice. It is not scary aliens. It is
Yeah.
about humans experiencing
is.
this phenomena
Yes.
and coming to terms with
Yes,
it. in
and
general.
being drawn and
that's
called.
the story. That's the actual
Called.
story.
Right.
You're
Called.
right. Called.
Operative word called.
You're
Well,
so
and there's a
The
right.
lot of-
Richard Dreyfuss character called. Inexplicably
The
called.
people who report, I just want to say, the people who report physical. I have some memories as a child where I remember beings in my room, but I never remember being on ships. Although I have experiences that I feel like I could only be explained by transporting my body somehow, but that's like a different story. But I don't have a lot of experiences like on ships or anything like that. But you've always, since I've known you 26 years, you've talked about being young and being in direct physical contact with them and having a sense of mission that you had a part to play in it.
Yes.
And it was related to your genomics. It was related to your biology. And that is an extremely common thread in contactees that have the physical layer of experience that you have. Also, Lette, I just wanted to affirm what you were saying. People who are sensitive, when they have these experiences, it's like you've been forced to stare at a miracle. So it's like you're just a little bit more open to a lot of things after that. And it's a one-way trip into consciousness. Once you become aware of something, you can't actually turn it off.
It's true.
Matrix tells this lie that, you can just like take the blue pill and you can go back into the Matrix. It actually doesn't work like that. Like you can't. There's no dial down for this thing. You wake up and you deal with what you see, and you do get the chance to shudder, and your government, the control of your mind that you're participating in, the schooling and everything else helps you to sync up with other people, but really all it gives you is a shared language. And then you had, I think, if I was like stepping back, you had these very powerful experiences that I saw you revisit over the years I've known you. And the experiences haven't changed. They're in a very narrow area. The details have changed, and as your ability to journey, which is like basically dreaming and then bringing back details, you've just added resolution to what you always have known as true. What you've known as true hasn't changed. It's just you've given more example to it. That's one of the things I hope with the Ascension Manual, that it gives people who would have a Christian I start off banging the little evangelical drum here a little bit. People who have that Christian orientation or have that conservative orientation, this is nothing. You can literally have this experience with God and Jesus, Mary in mind. You can have this. You can turn this general technology that is our nervous system to any spiritual source you choose. And when you choose the great Christian God or the Hindu God or the Muslim God, this is all fingers pointing to the same moon. The moon of the experience that all mystics and all these different religions have. Anyway, that's sort of the direction that all of the uplifting movies about contact go towards, is the humans grow and the humans sort of know, and the humans adapt to what has always been.
Right.
But if I may add, just like you were saying, the golden rule.
Yeah, golden rule.
You know, I had a near-death experience 6 years ago where it was very clear to me that God is love. And that's not a metaphor. That is the reigning truth. And so my experience with extraterrestrials always have the patina of exquisite love. And so why would it be any different? If, in fact, the creator of the entire universe is love, capital L, why wouldn't our experiences with other created beings be love? And so I believe we can raise our vibration to the highest octave of good, to the highest level of love, and experience love. Truly, just like the abyss example you were giving, the creepy old military guys saw it as a threat. The woman saw it as love. She was transported with wonder and awe.
Yeah.
And so I believe we can all see the same experience and interpret it through our own filter.
And people everywhere have the experience. That's what that opening video captures, right? That's right. It's just happening to humanity. And the story we tell ourselves about it is based on our best artists trying to paint a picture for us, our best, I guess, secret agents and trying to suppress technology that could destroy us, or if it was in too many hands, or whatever genie they're trying to put back in the bottle, with all of that stuff. There's parts of this that'll always be classified. There's parts of this that are probably destructive that you can't just like, in the same way you can't publish nuclear diagrams and like household kitchen instructions on how to destroy your city on the internet. We're not gonna like overnight get like, oh, here's your space Winnebago. But like,
Right.
you know, dude, it's such a, but we have a chance as a people now to, this is a wave of, if you take the universe and you put it on a scale, 99.997% of it is a stuff called plasma, the fourth state of matter, which is probably explains that orange stuff you guys saw. If it's pulling apart and like conscious, they talk about angels sometimes as being potentially intelligent, potentially programmable intelligences from the future, like, or just from a, if you have a plasma state that is mostly like what the sun is and this kind of thing, and it is, you're able to add instructions to it, and it's able to navigate through its own energy through space and time, you're getting the template of an angel or some kind of celestial being, right? Some
luminous,
some mechanism
conscious
of the gods. Yeah, you start to think about the Merkaba, and you start to think about the light body, and it like super amped up. Old stories of Tibetan masters who have the rainbow body initiation, where they go whoosh into light, but they leave their hair and their nails behind. You know, it's like hundreds of examples of it, or dozens at least in the literature. It's like there's this reality that's probably happening around us that is accessible through these technologies that in some natural environments is easier to discover than others. Like if you're in other star systems, you might have natural elements that make it a little easier for you to discover it. But this concept of the human diaspora is huge because I remember. Let's just get to stories. Lette, when you were framing this, you were talking about stories. And we can also take a little break here, too. We can take a little smoke sesh. No big deal. We can get this all going. But Fun.
I'm loving this.
We've got hours of music that we can roll into this thing. I remember being fascinated in my 20s by this thought. Someone had discovered like a satellite that was like, you know, a piece of granite that had been carved or something in space. It was like, dude, if humanity had got to the point in the past where it could get out of its own gravity well and go explore the cosmos, there is no telling how far they got, where they went to, and when they would be coming back, or anything along these lines. So we might just be looking into a cosmic mirror and hearing our own echoes coming back at us from all these other times and places.
Ooh.
Like, like I can, like, hey dudes, I can see your timeline. This is where it all gets burned into fire, so don't go down that one. Over here, la 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 la, lights over the Capitol, lights over the Capitol. You know, it's like you. If you had a super powerful AI that could literally assess like the psychic weight of everybody's voltages, and like put it on one side of the scale, you could be like, okay, a little bit more lights, get them, you know, a little more liminal, soften up their shit a little more, you know, or whatever. You could literally be an experiencer of your own humanity's program from another helpful angle in some bunker somewhere. You know, they're just like figuring this shit out.
Well, I'm like, we're only just now kind of like, oh, right, like time's a fake idea, you know, so like we have a lot of explaining to do that we actually seems to kind of like, I think, like smooth the path of this in a little way, because it's like, oh, right, time isn't quite what we thought, linearity isn't like quite as obvious,
Can you imagine
you know.
if you went to high school and you're like, I want to talk about the plasmas, I want to talk about the time travel, I want to talk about the free energy, I want to talk about, you know, can you imagine the enthusiasm you would capture from a generation of little scientists that would build you whatever the hell you wanted to be built. We built the internet based on the last wave of these kids, and it's like, so anyway, love, when you're talking about genetic stuff, I've always felt like my earliest contact experiences were somehow me making sense of some aspect of my genetics or some aspect of stuff that I was experiencing that I didn't have other names or words for. There's a lot of people that are coming out now and talking about the gifted programs in America in the 70s and the 80s as being front runners of the CIA to figure out where all these contactees are and what they're doing and what tech they're getting. And if this has been happening,
that's fun.
If there's been interspecies contact for 80 years, and it's happening, and there's a lot of people that say, if you know how to look, you can see them amongst us and shit, right? Like, if there are offspring, if there are people crossbreeding, if there's just any of this stuff going on, genetic experiment, natural, otherwise, whatever, if there's any amount of this going on, then what you have is you have beings out here in your genetic pool that have little radars, little antennas that are tuned to something a little bit different, and this makes a perfect multi-generational program. Have parents that are direct contees that could never think about it, raise children in an environment in a household where it will be more open, and they will then open up a greater consciousness that will then inform a new generation of parents to raise even deeper, like little, and star seeds is the words for this, this. But
I was going to say, there's,
I think one of the interesting things, when we talk about the idea of there being an other who is already among us, right? Whether it is at the bottom of the ocean, whether it is a plasma angel from the far side of Boetes, but specifically as we talk about the idea of the hybrid, right? I think, again, this is one of those situations where you can see how when the message is not given context, it can become extremely dangerous societally, right? Like the guy who murdered his wife and children because they had reptilian DNA, right? Like that was all over
a big
the
fear
newspaper.
of the other, like very close
Right.
in.
Big
Because
fear.
they don't. Their
Fear the
cognitive
other.
software hasn't been aligned with the reality in a good, useful way.
Right. But specifically, his algorithm was feeding him there is an alien hybrid program.
That's right.
Also, you're a Christian, so these are demons.
That's it.
Even at the same time, they're
Which is
reptile
it's
aliens.
the old Jungian subconscious and shadow conversation in another form, right?
Exactly.
And these are our modern angels, and this is a transcendent experience that can put you in touch with the divine. Like we were saying, Lissette, like the sensitive people tend to have, when they have contact multiple times. It's like it's a pattern that evolves. And the number of times I've seen people like in videos go, okay, there they come, and then the plasma balls appear, and their friends are like, what the fuck? And they're like, they're gonna get brighter, and then they do party tricks. It's like it's like playing good kittens with string. In the sense that, like, yes, you are a little psychic being out here. Yes, we have a general technology that can do it. No, I'm not running any computers over here. I'm a human mentat over here. I'm like a Bene Gesserit sister of some kind of humanity version. That I can just do this shit with my body. It's so much better than a computer. Computers are like, kind of like, that's like what we use in school to teach people how to do this. It's the computers. It's not the thing.
Yeah. Well, I keep thinking about how this is a great invitation for personal meaning making.
Oh, personal meaning making, because that soft inner place is forming the images and the words and the stories and the myth, the personal myth making. And then you're sharing, and that's what you do around a fire, don't you? You tell your stories. And you didn't used to have this daddy digital thing in the universe that would just tell you a billion stories all the time. It was just the people around you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you make sense for yourself, and you make sense with your community. Rev Lakshmi's upbringing made sense of this in your community.
That's
right.
That's
we're making sense of it in our community, and we just have like crazy access to everybody's fucking thoughts about this. But we're meaning making
about the experience. We can just throw it up under our own cool music and just be like, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said, Lissette. It's meaning making. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of choose your own adventure how you decide to make meaning from this. Is it a reptilian takeover that causes a homicidal, situation, or is it a great opportunity to tap into capital L love?
Fuck. Fruit on the tree. Anytime you have to execute your family, you've definitely been in some weird fruit, dude.
Yeah.
God gave you your family for a really good reason. Just trust that's like a really good reason, dude. Like.
Yeah.
But I think that you point out the very real truth that people do rely on the story that they are brought up with, and when it doesn't include this fantastically real other that can just be witnessed in the skies any day of the week.
Yeah.
It's really it's a small glove for a big hand.
It's and I think especially in the Western world, at least in the past probably 20 years or so, the idea of adhering to a belief in face of overwhelming evidence is seen as strength, whereas a changing one's mind is seen as, weak or not being decisive, right? So we're encouraged to lean into our belief because those beliefs societally become our identities, right? In the past, there was the UFO guy. Right, like everyone had a UFO.
I was a UFO guy for
knew.
many people.
Yeah, totally.
Same. Hundo, same. I love being in this fucking club.
Anytime I get in front of like an artistic medium of any kind, I'm like, where's the UFO gonna go? It's like I look at my subconscious and they're like, why don't you throw a UFO in there? It's like, dude, the AI the other day was I was having it make some stuff and it threw a bong in a picture. It shouldn't have a bong in it. It just knew me really well. It was just like, like a bong. Let's throw it in here. Now it's throwing UFOs and everything. It's awesome. It's just like, yeah, your universe includes UFOs, dude. Let's put a UFO in this show. It's fine.
Right. Well, and so I think the idea is that even if you weren't a UFO guy, right? Because some people, like the people the three of us hung out with, were like, oh, UFOs? All right, you're pretty cool, right? But then there was that other group that was like, you're a fucking nut job and like that you believe in the UFOs. So what's interesting is those people, let's say disclosure does happen, right? And let's say it is significant enough to cause those people to have to reconcile they're not
just
only
the same way that
COVID
came from a lab and a bunch of other shit that you can't say or apparently or whatever.
Right.
It's like,
but like
depending on where you are in space and time. But good.
Right, exactly, right. So like when you are forced to reckon with a truth that obviously shifts your worldview in a culture where you're told never to shift your worldview, otherwise you're weak, that creates a real deep internal dissonance, right? And it creates, I think, an unease in some way for folks. Yeah. So I'm thinking about the folks that are in the light of disclosure would have some, let's say, internal reckoning to do, right? Because not only is this thing you knew to be true, you also treated some people like shit based on your untrue knowledge.
Your friends and neighbors, you didn't treat them as yourself. You've got to rip something to repair there in your own heart first. And the next time someone tells you something crazy, you're just like, oh my God, that's like, so what happened to you? Even if you saw the coming of the Lord and it turns out to be a contrail,
right?
You that wasn't what it was. It was the coming of the Lord. That's where all the heart was. That's where all the feeling was.
Right.
That's where all the mind was. What are you talking about here? That's what that was.
Right.
It's like we didn't ask for it. It happened spontaneously. But it's as real as any other manifestation would be. In fact, this concept that, like, Lette, you were talking to this about the mechanization of the scientificism of the brain. Dude, you can learn everything you want about the electromagnetic spectrum. It is not going to tell you about how you feel.
Yeah. We keep trying to make that shoe fit. We keep being like, science will explain the mystery. It's just not.
It can't even explain the most basic, casual feeling you have about anything. It doesn't even. It's somehow. It's okay. We're in the infancy of so much of our understanding. But one day, I feel like our science will get to the point where we will have a nuanced understanding of inner states and dream states and consciousness states. We'll have a nuanced understanding of the growth of the psyche and how, the stories that we tell ourselves from every major religion are really referring to the same nervous system, going through the same general experience in different colorful ways, in different culturally adorned ways, but it's the same human nervous system over and over again. And there's something that kind of is, and the mystics all agree on the core principle of it. Dude, I want to show you some of our UFO photos and tell you some of our UFO stuff. Do we want to take a little jazz cabbage interlude here?
Sounds perfect.
Come back after the break.
I love it. Sounds good.
That's awesome. You know what? I'm going to play some music and some MH370 video. You guys have not seen the MH370 videos. And so, I'm going to play Bob Lazar describing the technology behind it. And I'm going to put this music behind it. Then I'm going to show you the CAA doing it. about 10, 15 years ago. And
Awesome.
Anyway, dude, it's messed up. Anyway, we'll take about 10 minutes or so. We'll just let this thing kind of roll, and we'll enjoy ourselves here. But I'm going to start us off the Tactical Pancakes, Side B, the correct application of breakfast foods. We're gonna play some tracks out of here. Let me see if I can bring this up correctly. Okay, here we go. This one. Let's go. Enjoy.
On the bottom side of the disk are the 3 gravity generators. When they want to travel to a distant point, the disk turns on its side. The 3 gravity generators produce a gravitational beam. What they do is they converge the 3 gravity generators onto a point and use that as a focal point. Then they essentially bring them up to power and pull that point towards the disk. The disk itself will attach onto that point and snap back as they release space back to that point. Now all this happens in the distortion of time, so time is not incrementing, so the speed is essentially infinite. So on the bottom side of the disk is
Dance me through the night with sweet devotion. Oh, this mystic beat sets my heart in motion. And so draw me near until I disappear. And only love remains and all else is clear. Reveal to me the souls who seek your fire. My brothers, sisters, bound in one desire. Show me seekers lost in pure elation. Pilgrims dancing towards your true illumination. Breathe me deeper into love's surrender. In this holy flame, we're so soft and tender. Scatter me upon your endless shore until I dissolve forever, never wanting more. Bring me pilgrims stirred by sweet devotion. Friends immersed within your boundless ocean. Guide me to companions wild and yearning. Souls ablaze forever, brightly Empty me until there's nothing left but wonder. And then I lose myself in your holy thunder. The source is a secret. The source is a song. I breathe through you, baby, like I rip through a bone. To the source, but of course, but of course, to the source, to the You and me together, just as wild as we can be. Ride with me, burn bright as we blaze. Side by side we shine as we gallop through our days. To the source, to the source, on your horse, to the source. It's the source. It's the source. Just a horse, but of course, the source is a secret. The source is a song, and we've known each other all along. Forever and always, there's nothing else to see. You and me, baby, it's written in the breeze. To the source, on your horse, but of course, from the source, get on your horse.
I can.
All right, I hear you guys.
Get on your horse.
Yeah, we're not seeing.
Get on your horse.
I can hear you.
Get on some
All right, you
I don't
crazy kids,
see
get
you.
on. Get on some.
I don't
horse,
see
crazy
you
kids.
either.
There we go. I think if you refresh, there might be, you have to click the little camera button where you turn the camera back on. It's like a little slider underneath the video. That might be it. And it also might be a refresh of the browser if all else fails. We'll sometimes do it. I did check the live feed. It's going out live. There you go. I see I see a
Weird.
neon.
Test, test.
I hear Lette, and I see a black screen.
No,
which
we're
means
not getting any audio feed though.
no audio feed. Maybe a refresh of browser.
Nope.
There. You're in my left ear now only. Now you're in both ears.
We're falling off the back of the spaceship.
Hey man, refresh Chrome. Hit that refresh button in that Chrome browser and let it go and resynchronize with everything. Maybe close everything else.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can hear now.
I can't.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Okay,
so
1,000,
Lette,
2, 1,000, 3, 1,000.
so Lette, you got to go down. I'm just going to come over there.
There you go. We're going to, we can play this while we're listening. Look at this beautiful UFO footage. This is what they put us through. This is how we're expected to know our miracles, by thermal infrared FLIR footage. We just glimpse these other realms, these other portals.
What's that there?
I know, mine wasn't either.
Celestial objects just afloat in this firmament. Plasma balls. Look at these plasma balls, love. They're just throwing these out here in the universe. They're like,
All right, Lette, can you hear me?
I'm making the noises. Huh? I'm gonna do the veil. I was going to tell him our stories though.
No, that's fine.
Boots kicking dust under stars that ignite.
Oh.
We're two
We would mute.
drifters riding in.
Oh. Okay. I'm back. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, sir. Excellent work. The
Okay, Lette cannot. She can see us, but seemingly cannot hear us. Nor are we able to view her video.
she is in the mute state, and so at least on one level, there are probably maybe multiple levels, but on one level, the place on the Zoom on the Chrome screen that shows our pictures, right underneath it, there's the video on slider and the audio on slider, and very likely when I muted you guys at the beginning of that video cut, the last one, it turned those off, and you have to slip them back on. And that would make sense, because we've got the mute icon here, so we probably want to bring that piece back.
Oh, okay, in the settings.
Like, if you get to the screen where you can see as the wheel turns, and you're sort of in the restream, then if you close other stuff, it sometimes makes it easier. If you're in the restream there, it likes a Chrome browser, but it'll run on a Safari or a Mozilla Firefox. But it likes a Chrome. Yeah.
Well, Lette's on Chrome.
That
I'm
makes a ton
on
of sense.
Safari.
You could probably refresh, or it's likely that it's just those two sliders that have to go.
Oh no, Lette's also on Safari. Okay, so those sliders.
Can you? I want to. Here, you know what I can do? Watch this, dude. Oh, this is magic. The magic of the owl. It's like Athena's owl. She has like a name. There was a name for that thing. It was like this mechanical thing that was like an AI. It would like tell you things and tell you what time it is everywhere.
All the guys. Okay, go ahead.
No. I can see. Okay, so here's our screen. Oh, check that shit out. Oh yeah, baby. Okay, so right here you can see my cursor here. I'm gonna mute myself. You see how it muted me and you can't hear me? Now I can also click this one to turn my video off.
Huh.
If I click that one the other way, it turns my video back on. So inside this little screen where you can see the people, here's my tabs on my Chrome browser up here. There are these little sliders, and I think Lette just has her slider off. I think. Hide camera, keep audio. I can... Yeah, there's... I think you just have to click that little button, is my guess. And I can also... Let me just pull this back over here. Okay, cool. Haha. It's my cool owl. She does all these cool tricks. Oh, check this out. None of that works anymore.
But we can't hear Neon at all.
Can't hear Neon at all.
Uh-uh.
All right. All good. We're working out all the bugs, everybody. You know, when I first started doing my first podcast using this software, we would spend hours online. Hours. 2-3 hours just getting it working. It takes some time. Here, I can pop Lette off like this, and then back on. Whoopsh. And then we can't hear you anymore, Neon. I can see you're talking, but we can't hear you, and you're not muted, so it has to be something on your side. A refresh will sometimes fix this stuff. Okay, he's done the refresh. He'll be back. He'll be back. Hey, everybody. Hope you're hanging in there out here live in these streets. Nice to see you all. Hopefully you're enjoying the all the cool stuff we got going on here. we're going to watch this. We're gonna like hide camera, keep audio. There's our tactical pancakes image for today. The campfire, hanging out around the campfire, telling cool stories. There we go. We got Neon back. Neon's back. Neon's back. Here he's back. He's back. He's Neon's
Woohoo,
back.
and
We can hear you. So that's perfect.
Oh, okay, great.
And here comes Lette back in.
Yes.
Boom. And I think she's in the same state where she has to flip those little switches, but that makes sense.
What?
The mute switch.
Yeah.
I will see. It'll be red when it's muted, and then you go chink. If you load it in the Chrome browser, let me give you the sweet link.
Oh, yeah.
Let me I'm gonna put the magical link here in the private chat. That link, if you click that link in a Chrome browser, you'll come in on a sweet chromified experience, which sometimes is better, sometimes it just depends on how your computer is set up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling over there, love? You had some dinner?
I did.
Nice. If you get that mic nice and close, we can hear you real good. So what do you think about all this alien talk? What do you hope to get out of all this?
Expansion of consciousness.
Expansion of consciousness is good. You know, for a while I thought that we might have like an embassy. Like you could have on the edge of our property, you could have a little place where you just go out there at night and like stare up into the sky and send good thoughts. Ooh. So many of these contactee experiences are just like, it's basically sitting outside and sending good thoughts to space. And then plasma orbs show up and or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. And so anyway, I've thought about that. Like, what would an embassy be like? They say that, you know, the reason the Cold War really ended was because individual Russians and individual Americans got together and said, we're not that different from each other. Not really. Not in actual factualness. So it kind of forced the politicians to stand up. Maybe it's the same thing with UFOs.
There you go.
Maybe it's like, dude, some of my best friends are UFOs. And so, like, you know, equal rights for off-planet immigrants as well. We can make this big like this, or we can go completely background-yo show like this. Where we go, oh yeah, there's humans coming in. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Neon is in here. And, oh, right on. You're smooth as can be. Lette is still here. Her user is still here, but we still have this mute sticker on her. I don't know. This is just me guessing. My best guess that it's that mute switch because I caused it when I did this to her. I turned it off. All good. We're getting all these bugs worked out. These cosmic bugs. You know, it's really sweet. Everyone going through all the trouble to get together to have this cool conversation. But I like that we're having it right now as so many new people are thinking, wait, aliens are real? You're saying aliens are... Wait, you said aliens weren't real a lot and emphatically, and now you're saying they are real?
Right.
My whole life I was talking about
right, cognitive dissonance.
It's a massive
Who do I believe?
What is real if this is real?
Yep.
It's shock. It's cognitive shock. It's what they try to avoid with disclosure. Yet someone probably kicked over the can because of the Epstein files. They were like, let's dump this other thing in their cognitive computer so they can't possibly get it together to hold people accountable for heinous crimes that are clearly documented. Heinous crimes fully documented should be prosecuted as a matter of course, especially if they were documented. For whatever, not every crime gets documented. Not every crime gets solved, but the freaking ones we have the receipts for? We've got 2 humans in here. You know there's a wisdom in just rebooting. Try a rebooty. Try a Das Beauty. Reboot the whole thing.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you well.
Oh my gosh, I love this. So we're just going to both sit on one screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's going to be the easiest solution. We're just grabbing another seating solution.
Seating solutions. We've got the solutions. When there's seating troubles in the way, we look away from all bad things.
Well, no, the second
we
chair.
look into the light, and we see our seating solutions shining back out from the void. The beautiful seating solutions. Do you like to sit in a place that's good? Do you like to see everything you should? Everywhere we turn, it's all right, we turn, it's all right, we turn. You know, I could see us having like a federated folk jam session where you know you just get these things in the right mode and you can just like make a bunch of sound. Like I could just put I could put a microphone here and then we could like get out our shakers and just like keep a beat for you. You want to?
Our cat is joining you in song. Thank you so much for enduring that. To me, is it lasted light years. My perception of time during that whole tech experience was like a.
You know what? You guys recovered beautifully. This is dude. I gotta tell you why. Okay, so I am on my third, if not fourth, how you count it, sound studio, because I would play music online and it would evoke emotions out there. Those gosh darn emotions would come back and blast my equipment and blow it up when it was turned off. Right. Someone would be watching my video, hear a sound one of my machines made, connect with it, and it would fucking blow it up. And so I have to physically isolate the machines. As I am setting up for this thing and we are coming online and I can just feel the waves coming, I turn the corner and there's a flash of light out of one of the Jennies I have. There's a flash of light out of it and it shoots up through the TV and I go, no! And I look down and I forgot to, I turned everything off. It's behind 3 layers, but I forgot to physically disconnect it. That's the last step. Once I disconnect all the equipment, I physically unplug it. And otherwise, the fucking, the morphic field that we share just reaches up and just lashes your gear. I'm like, dude. So anyway, there's a management to this shit, and the gremlins come out, and you got to iron out the kinks as you go. I was telling Cheryl, when we started our first podcast using this setup a couple years ago, we would literally be on for 2 or 3 hours to iron out all the technical difficulties before we went. But by the end of it, we could get everybody on in like 5 minutes. Nice. And so it's really just about figuring out where the gear is and what works and what doesn't. I literally have the way it was plugged in like 3.5 years ago when I started this other one. It's the same cables. I don't know what it is. It's like a little superstitious, but it's like that's how it's plugged in.
That's how it works.
Yeah. I understand the power of that ritual. Yes.
We don't change that.
This is our first time on these, so I'm glad for that. And we had a really cool poetic moment. So when I was getting sound in the cans, you sounded like a little tiny alien robot. It was so fun. It was like that's probably a refresh of the browser gets that cleared, or if you've got a sound processing unit on the computer, we've got this thing called Voice Meter Potato that we use that is that can get garbled up. So if you start hearing like robot voice, we have to reset the buffer on it. But that's on a PC, and you guys are on Macs, and Macs run a little smoother in these regards, a lot of cases. But you know, we were talking about. What I really love about this is that I think this is the missing piece or the bridge for most people. It isn't seeing UFOs. We've all seen UFOs. It isn't hearing the stories of aliens. We've been hearing that our whole lives, you know, in cinema and stories and science fiction for generations now. It isn't any of that. Maybe it's something about personal experience, but I think before it's about personal experience, it's about making a place to have a subjective truth that is not in conflict with your world. You can be a householder. You can have an intimate connection to a powerful spiritual source inside you, and then you can still pay your taxes, and like square the circle. You know. Exactly, 100%.
Legit.
I love that you said that. As we were chatting it during our break, we were talking about this idea that like. Everyone knows someone. If they haven't personally had the experience, everyone has heard at least one story from someone who they trust.
Right.
That they trust. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we talk about this idea of like being gaslit for so long, right? Where it's like I trust them, I trust
militarily.
Me. Right. And so
right. We kind of like came to this idea that in terms of the note we wrote was, you are told not to trust yourself and to deny your firsthand experience until everyone is having the same experience.
Yeah.
Then it's okay to say it.
That's right.
Which is going to create a lot of cognitive load because you saw something, experienced something, or you had some kind of, you thought maybe, but it's so weird, but now you're being asked to treat it like, let's pass laws about it.
Right.
Let's pass laws about it. Right. You can't.
You're so right. And so I was thinking, and this is for you, Lakshmi Ananda. I was thinking about how you are what a powerful time it is for you to be working on the project of this book that you've been working on in perfect unison with this moment of disclosure.
Oh.
Right? I'm thinking
Yes.
People are looking for a framework to understand that where does this experience fit? What part of the bookshelf do I put this book?
Yes, people are looking specifically for tools to, one, trust their inner sight, and two, trust their outer sight. But that self-trust, that sense of like they're actually being that you're calling this book the Ascension Manual is like, I feel just so relieved being like, there's a manual to deal with that can give me some tools to help make meaning or make sense of what produces awe and wonder.
I love that.
That's
Hadn't even put that together, Lisette.
That's a beautiful vision.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Thank
it
you.
does. It teaches the general journeying will teach the inner compass, the way to take whatever the dream stuff is and hold on to it or weave it in a way that you could bring something back to this place from that place. Now, you wouldn't bring back something of no value because it takes tremendous effort to do so. So usually the things you bring back have great value and are very helpful here in a lot of ways.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I think it's a natural function in humanity. Studying shamanism over the years, it's like if you could find a water source, if you could find game, the Ngom people of South Africa, they live right above South Africa. They're the oldest people in the world because they're the most genetically diverse. When you add up everybody's DNA, they have the most variety in it, which means they're the oldest people.
Wow.
Yeah, and they talk about the strings. They talk about vibrational strings that connect them to antelope. So they catch a string. It's an antelope thinking about them, more or less. And then they go, and then they go find, they track the string down, go get yourself an antelope. So they're using a telepathic sense to find useful shit in their environment. It makes 100% sense that whatever we are, however we got here to being what we are, through whatever intervention or natural processes or a combination of both or neither of the both, you have the you make sense that you would be in tune with your environment to the point where you could pull useful information out of it. And this seems to be what that space is. The ability to be more open to senses and sensation, psychic understanding, intuition, whatever you call it, that is not does not fit in the peg of your society. But it is a story. It's a personal myth making. And that's what you end up doing. You end up telling people the story about what you experienced, and it's so real for you. It's way more real than this world in a lot of ways when you really get into it.
Well, why?
Because it's more meaningful.
Right. I mean, at a cultural
aside
scale,
from people
are like obsessed with the telepathy tapes. I think for the same reason. It's like I've either experienced it, or my mom was psychic, or grandma always knew when I was about to call. Like it's that kind of like hiding in plain sight but denying your reality thing. Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Peter Thiel in 0 to 1, this book about entrepreneurs, he has this thing called Founders Fund. It's created all these companies, including J.D. Vance, the vice president. He was part of Founders Fund. He talks about this openly. He says, if you want to make a company that is nothing and then becomes something real, that's 0 to 1. That is different than 1 to 2, 2 to 3 scaling. So much of business is about scaling. But if you're 0 to 1, here's what you look for. Something that everybody knows that no one can say.
Ooh.
Isn't there a big old truckload of stuff that covers that? And this would be an example of one of those.
Fascinating.
Many people have known it. I think it was 80+% of Americans believe in angels or UFOs or something. It's like this huge percentage. Maybe that's the cannabis numbers. It's like cannabis percentages are rushing into the upper 80s percentile. It's like, who's this last percentile that's like, can't handle it? It's like, what? Why? Like everybody you ever experience is like, it's fine. What are you talking about?
And I think
big problems.
Right. That's what modern dispensaries are trying to do. They're like, listen, this is just like going to the fucking Apple store. You're going to get a cute bag at the end. You're going to get someone who knows what they're talking about, and we'll get you where you want to go, right?
Not your grandma's.
A productized experience of what used to be, dude, do you have like Steve's number?
Yeah. Legit. Kelly Steve. Yeah.
Whenever I buy weed or go tip a bud tender, I'm always like, here's like a 20 or something. I'll go out of the way to like make it like a little stretch for me. And they're like, really? Do you want change? I'm like, no, I don't want to change. Just keep it. And I'm like, and they're like, and if they look at me like strangely, I'm like, dude, do you remember when this was? You don't remember when this was impossible to do. I just bought like hundreds of dollars of weed from you. I like love this. Look how legal this is. Safe cameras, lights, everything is beautiful. Quality control. Do you know what a blessing this is? Here's your tip. Thank you for being a part of this mission.
Legit. Legit.
Cannabis is the oldest medicine that humanity has. When you go to the oldest textbooks about medical interventions, they are Chinese textbooks, and they are 200 plus applications for cannabis and preparations for it. And then there's a small appendices, about 70 plants, that we would call our pharmacopoeia. Like all of the shit we get out of Whole Foods is right in that. If you can't find cannabis, you can deal with a little willow bark or something, you know? Like shit, like aspirin, the stuff that we deal with. It's like, but why would you wouldn't even touch that shit if you had cannabis. It's like, exactly. It's like if you're looking to get rid of a headache or pain in your body, you're looking to motivate your spirit or open your heart. You're looking to heal some pain from your past. It's like
reduce
sweet
your
Jane. Yeah. It's an ADHD thing. It's not medical advice. It's an ADHD focuser. It's I mean, it works for so many different things, but it's
a heart opener that I think is a true intimacy. I keep coming back to
a real antidote for our digital age, honestly.
That's it. Right. Also another tool.
If you can be with someone digitally and you can have your heart open, it's like you're around the campfire. And isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of the same experience.
Yeah.
Look at us, I'm sitting around these glowing pancakes.
I know,
right?
Do either of you have any? We're thinking like, if we were going to wrap up soon, are there any other like wonderful things that have landed in your gut during this conversation?
Any syntheses, perhaps?
Yes, we could do syntheses. I wanted to tell you about our UFO experience, or at least one of them that I had.
Oh my gosh!
And
yes.
Here you go. Here is our. This is a close-up of the thing that was flying over our neighbor's house when we came back on the winter solstice 2 years ago, and we saw it in the trees, and it was coming horizontal. It was going away from us, and this is the moment when I actually got out the camera to capture it. Was at this stage. Now, when I saw it with my eyes, I did not see anything below it. But Lakshmi, you saw this thing below it, whatever this jellyfish kind of tendril thing out the bottom of it is. We thought it was a mylar balloon. You see how it's reflecting these complex shapes and patterns here, like it's a silver thing? You see how it has this weird shape on the top here like this?
In this shot, it looks like a Christmas tree ornament. What's the scale as you estimate? Because I know you're on this vast valley.
Right.
Okay, so let me tell you the story, and feel free to jump in with your details, because this is one that we both saw together. We saw two together, and I saw one on my own. But we don't have to tell you about all those tomorrow. We can always leave a little ink in the well. But we were out getting some groceries, and we had just come by the weed store, and so I was driving home, and you had a healing with your friend from Australia that started right at 4 o'clock. This was on the summer solstice, so the sun is setting kind of early, so the sun's getting low in the sky here. And we're coming around the last turn before we go up in our driveway. You guys have been down that road. And right over our neighbor's house is something I'm going to call, if you take a VW bug, you take 3 of them and bundle them together. That makes kind of a bulge in the middle, and then it goes out to the edges. Something of that size is above our neighbor's house and is doing something in the air. And it's got a turning on the edge of it, and it's subtle, but it just catches my attention. And I turn to you and I go, "What is that?" And you go,
I don't remember.
You go, "It's a helicopter." And I saw that you're cognitively were not going to let in the stimuli, right? You were like focused on getting home.
I was worried I was going to be late.
Right. And so you were like, "It's a helicopter." And so I go, "Oh, it's a helicopter. Cool. Let's just see if that's a helicopter." So I stop the car and I turn off the engine and I roll down the window. And it's receding. And it's like it's on a tram. It's like it's doing the math between 2 points in space. It is a perfect freaking line for an insane amount of material that's moving extremely fast away from us. And initially, I thought it was a mylar balloon because it felt optically, metaphorically, it felt like there was nothing there.
Uh-huh.
It felt light, like it has barely a mylar sheath, and somehow this thing has drifted through the wind and is going to crash in these trees over here somehow. It was the first thought I had. And that was the first time that I thought, take a picture of it, you're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
And so I pull out my camera, and then I put it away.
Mm.
The thing moves, it's moving away from us, and it's so strange. And you were talking about your thing, and we were like, and you're like, what is that? And then you got involved, and you were like, let's see what this is. And I pulled out my camera again to take a picture, and I put my camera away because it was so obvious to me that the whole world was going to understand what this was. And there was no way you could possibly get, that's what you're looking at. It's clearly there. So
Right.
like any other observer, like what this is an eternal thing. It's no big deal. And then I overrode it, like I do sometimes when I wake up and I don't want to write down my dreams. I'm like, get out your camera, mother junker! And I pull out my camera and I went, doom, and I took some photos of it. And that's when, and in the photos, that thing on the bottom shows up. Then we go up to the top. You run inside. I turn on my camera and I record it for about like 19 minutes, doing the math between wherever I saw it, right close to where our road was, and it crosses the entire valley in a straight line. It goes way into the distance, like dozens of miles beyond visually, and it doesn't oscillate. It doesn't wobble in the valley. 2 days later, I heard this intense thumping. I was in my office. I was like, whoa! And I went outside, and it's a helicopter all the way on the other side. The slightest disturbance of air in our valley causes these huge waves that reverberate everywhere. This thing was not disturbing the air at all. And it was flashing like a red and blue light as it kind of went, and not red and blue, but like it was shimmering and stuff. I would like zoom in on it and see all these colors and stuff, and it was like, and I recorded the whole video and I have the whole thing. And then I knew I had watched enough of these where I turned around the camera and I recorded my feelings like right after it happened.
Nice.
And then it was like having a splinter in my mind for like 3 months. Where I was just, my brain was just, my mental software was just, would not let it go. I was just rerunning these same few moments in my mind over and over, trying to extract from it something it didn't have, which was something like fucking something in our world.
Yeah,
but you said jellyfish, and I didn't see jellyfish. I saw this thing, but on the pictures you can see this stuff hanging out the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And then a tram line, like in Switzerland, like we have like a trolley that goes up the side, like a navicular. What's the name of that thing?
A funicular.
Funicular.
There
It was
you
just
go.
like a funicular.
Yeah.
It was like there was a wire, like an algorithm that was connecting it. Dude, all in, I think I saw like fucking Uber Eats or some shit. Just some piece of fucking infrastructure hanging off of something that like dipped into our world somehow and fucking freaked us out. You brush it off almost immediately. You were like, got it, and we got into it a little bit later and stuff, but like it was really something to have you there and to have you experience it, and then but yeah, I gotta tell you, I was just like, I was really happy to get to the point where it sort of healed in my consciousness, where I was just like, where it wasn't like just bugging me all the time. Like, what the fuck?
Right, legit.
Dissonance.
Okay, so I had that experience. I had another experience where I saw a TR-3B, that's the triangular shaped craft, just floating over a bookstore. I saw that happen. It was like watching a giant piece of granite slide, like a hot piece of glass, like a stick of butter slide across it. It was just, there was no way it was where it was, and it was just moving like in an absolute straight line, and had like the whole indentation of the TR-3B on it, and the way anyway, that one was very passive. And then the other one that I had was a really crazy one involving a black helicopter that came out of nowhere and was like another kind of craft. It wasn't really a black helicopter. But anyway, that one was nuts. Anyway, I could tell those stories later, but because you guys were wanting to wrap up. But the piece. I could totally tell these stories if you wanted to hear them.
That's too much ink in the well.
Too much ink in the well. Dude, we've got ink in the well. But what I was going to say is, the overwhelming sense that I get from what I have seen in the sky is like this. We are like bunnies. Soft, human bunnies. And we are like in a field. And if you wander far enough outside the field, there's the big old highway. and there's this little light that shows up, and then all of a sudden, and then it's like flying the fuck by you, and it's like huge, and they go, bunnies, stay away from the highway. That is excellent advice for the bunnies. All in. Totally legit. That's the thing that gets me the most about this. The power of it and the indifference. It's like, oh, it really does treat us like we're ants, you know?
Right.
It's like out of the way.
Right. Whether it's a nuts and bolts craft, whether it's a plasma entity, it is largely unconcerned with our.
It's got its own agenda. We're like a screen. We're like the virus little shield that runs that like makes sure the malware's not running. We're probably being managed by somebody's AI somewhere. Like it's just like, listen, they're acting up again. Quick, media events. You know, it's like and it's like spread out the energy or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could slice it, but I think that on one level, so many of these videos I've seen personally look like house like security alarms. Like somebody's out in the outback, and there's this flashing light that somehow exists in the spectrum our eyes can see, and it doesn't initially do that. It's kind of like, you know, a little X-ray, and then it's like, oh, it finds red, it finds green, it finds blue, and it shines in your eyes. You know, it's like it's floating. It's like, get away, get away, get away, get away. They're probably having a picnic somewhere, somebody, and they just deploy these fucking things, and their AI is like, I got this taken care of. It's like Swiss Family Robinson shit. You know, they're like they bring this whole party with them. And so much of this stuff, it just seems like we're getting shooed away, especially the UFOs and the ocean stuff. That's a lot of what it seems like. There's a one that I saw recently. George Knapp was talking about UFOs, and he had a Netflix special on it. And part of the thing he did is investigated the Carolinas, which is an island chain off of Los Angeles. Very much a hotspot.
Right. That's where a lot of the original like the Tic Tac and the Go Fast, I want to say, were in that
San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah.
Oh yeah, word.
And that's totally supports the theory that people have bumped into about like maybe we figure this out in 40 years, and then they come back. You know?
Yeah.
These are the exact military ranges that you're using, and somehow you're human 40 years in the future and you dip back into the past. Well, these are professional military jet fighters. I know exactly how they're going to react to them. And I know exactly that they've got the mental training to fucking handle what I'm about to do, which is chase them down. Whatever, you know. It's like, oh, look, we've got this capability. We can move into the past or whatever. You know, there's a million explanations. Like,
I love that, quite frankly. Some part of me is like, I love thinking that
it's us.
That it's us.
Yeah.
It easily could be.
It's the safest feeling thing in many ways.
Yeah. We just were so darn smart. We figured out how to go back. God, we're good. We're good and we're safe.
What is cool?
Oh, look! Did you see this in the newspaper, you idiots? There was congressional hearings in 2017 where David Fravor came up. It's like, oops! Their timeline gets poisoned, you know?
Well, but what I'm interested in, though, is like that we want it to be one thing, too. And I think that if nothing has been revealed in our wonderful campfire this evening, it's that it is so much more than one thing. Like, I definitely have a lot of room for it being a lot of explanations and that there isn't one tidy answer. Like,
I know.
Us in the future doesn't explain Rev Lakshmi Ananda's experience to me.
Yeah.
It gives me nothing.
Yeah. There's that theme is one of genetic drift via technology, and then the need to go find the original stock of humans to interbreed them so that whatever the kids are in that future have something that comes from this time that they've lost through their engineering practices. This is the theme that recurs on that a lot.
I see how that works. Okay. Wow.
Not that this is the dude, but you're exactly right, Lette. We are literally talking about contact with the divine. So you're putting your hand on like a hot source, you know?
Right.
And it's like anything you want can come through. I mean, that's the whole point about the liminal, isn't it? It's between this world and the next. So like literally that's where everything that comes to our world comes.
It's a lot of things. And that's why you get people no context taking ayahuasca and being like, whoa.
Yeah.
DMT,
totally.
Whoa.
Right. I know.
Like, if we're going to go to the, the like a spiritual, logical, destination of, aliens are real, the other is real. to then strangle that with a presumption that it's only one thing feels
unsatisfying.
Well, it's unsatisfying, but it also just
so convenient. So convenient that when you discover the Earth is not the center of the universe, you also forget to discover that your star is also not the center of the next thing. Like, you know.
Right, because you don't have the tools for it, like how we didn't know there were other galaxies until 100 years ago.
Only
That's right.
100 fucking years ago, we still thought, no, we're the biggest.
Exactly.
Wow.
I know, and that you, when you were talking about the sun being the center, you were basically preaching up the wall. Like no, everyone's like, look around. It is clearly not happening like you say.
Right, dummy, come on. Are you
It's like, no, it's just a little jump. Imagine
that.
the Earth's like a ball. They're like, string this guy up.
Yeah. He is undermining our divine model of the universe with his fucking observable and repeatable logic.
Dude, which reminds me of these videos we're going to exit on. We're going to play this song one more time as we exit. But dude, when you watch this stuff, it's like, it's so obvious that there is a phenomena there.
Yeah,
it's clearly perpetrating itself on humanity in a million ways, and it's not necessarily benign, but it's also not malevolent. Because it could be doing anything it wanted if it has that capability, and it's clearly not doing that. So it's not aggressive. It's not here to attack us. We honestly might just be looking at the wiring.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not even perceiving like the real purpose of these things. We might be seeing some endpoint of some crazy program or some but I'll tell you, the stuff that always gets my attention is the appearance of all the light, the plasma balls and the light ships, whatever you call it, over the Capitol. When that image of like, they're flying over the Capitol. Like, if you were gonna communicate with the simple apes, you'd be like, find their shit. Where is it? It's right there.
Where did you see
Right.
it be kind of
And like it always happened, like Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Like on their hotspot, like boom, we're gonna
one of the most populous places on the Earth. If you were looking at the Earth, where they all gather, they gather here.
Right, 22 million people in a capital city.
who are all totally open to the Virgin Mary, which might be a little help.
It's huge.
There. You know what I mean?
Right.
That entire place runs on faith. Like that, when I was there in my 20s, and I was there for studying a whole bunch of meditational, Merkabah kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, the correlation between people who like to meditate or like pretty decent at it and contactees is like super high. So it's like if you're out there meditating anyway, and you're like subtle energy, you can do something with this. This is somewhat of the language that's being used, and so if you were looking to contact people, those would be the kind of people you go to. Anyway, I was there in my 20s, and there was such a current of faith in that city, and we were running around following it, and we followed it right to the temple, the Virgin de Guadalupe.
Yeah.
And you go there and you see the blanket that Juan Diego had that like impressed upon her. It's still there. It is glowing with faith. There are so many hundreds of people that come through. You have to get on an escalator so you can come within a few feet of it as it like pushes you through the room. It's the whole place runs on that. So yes, the simple people are easier to contact. People with open hearts. It's impressionable.
There's a technology in that culture for understanding the transcendent.
Right. There's a framework for it that is not necessarily polar in nature.
Yeah, it's like they've got a tool to work with that information.
Yeah, I think it helps, and I think it correlates entirely. I've got stories about seeing craft when I was in the mountains of Mexico. In my 20s, studying Merkabah science up at this Sufi retreat center up in the mountains up there.
Yeah.
It was a very place of high consciousness. It was very accepted. All this stuff that was moving around. It was very District 90 in a lot of ways. You guys wanted to land the plane here, which is fantastic. So what did we each get from this sort of thing? I can start. I am absolutely floored by the fact that the President of the United States says release the stuff. Dude, that's it. If you were looking for a moment my entire life where the government said, let them know about the UFOs, they just said that shit. Now, it's going to take 50 to 100 years for it to fucking come out. There's going to be a documentary made in 2136. It was like, right back in 2025, when they thought they understood. They didn't. It's like, God dang. But, like, that's not the time we live in, right? Like, I am excited to be here with you, good friends, and to be here with you on the eve of like getting this book. Really, you've already written it. There's so many parts of it that have been practiced. It is so exciting that we are there's something new happening, and I feel like we're all a part of it. It's so cool, and I'm just glad that we could get together and talk about it on the eve of the birth or whatever the hell's happening. So it's cool.
Yes.
Same.
Others,
Yeah.
what did you guys learn from or get from our campfire tonight? We of course we got a new one coming up soon, but what'd you get from this one?
I mean, I think I loved most about this seeing all the intersections, right? Like when you look at this through the lens of the diplomacy of enthusiasm, there's a lot of ways you can get hyped up about this topic. And it's funny to see where they overlap and then where they diverge. And then when they do, why? You know? So I think like seeing the web of this whole situation is really, really fun, just as to be both a participant and an observer to the process is so fucking rad. And what I will say as well is that because I knew our topic this evening was going to be about UFOs. So I don't know if you've picked up or not, but every 19 minutes and 47 seconds that we've been on in honor of the year of the Roswell, New Mexico crash, I have changed my beanie.
I've noticed.
Oh my!
I've noticed.
Every 19 minutes and 47 seconds.
And I didn't
I
know
remember when
why.
I went to Orange and you were talking about something that's so cool, and I was like, dude, that one's like just like your notebook. But I was like, why am I noticing it now?
Yeah, no, I've noticed because I'm in the observer role mostly,
Dude,
and I thought, what is Neon doing? I was fascinated. Thank you for explaining it.
That's so cool.
I'm
That's
glad you
great.
felt that satisfaction, Lakshmi.
That's great.
Good,
But I was
good.
losing my mind.
Dude, Neon, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I had
Easter
one
eggs in
more
plain
prepared.
sight. Go, yeah, just.
Do you want to go for it?
No. What I was
Your
gonna
final
say is,
hat?
Oh yeah, go. You got one more. You got one more hat coming.
This one, yeah, I mean, and mind you, it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds early, but it's like a real big, good, like kind of.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That is a great hat.
Know me hat.
That is.
Yeah, I kind
you
of
could
feel
weather
like
the storm in that hat. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Like
Dude,
your
Neon,
entire
since I've
our new
I love
alien
it.
influence.
Exactly.
Dude, since I've met you, I've been dying to get your input on the Townsend Brown effect and how positive and negatively charged plates can like move an ion field through. It's like the whole tech behind this stuff, and they've gotten into it. When we were talking about high school stuff, I think this is where literally you inspire the next generation of scientists. It's like, dude, plasma is almost everything that's out here. This is all plasma tech. Let's get into it deep and let's go. And
Dude,
like
have you read Nick Cook's The Hunt for 0 Point?
I have not, and I would love to start a book club. We should start a fucking technical book club, and we should just like jam out on this shit and get obliterated and talk about Townsend Brown effect.
Yes. Let me just put that right on there for some ink in the well. Nick Cook's The Hunt for 0 Point takes you through this entire journey in an exhaustively documented, verifiable way.
Let's do it.
It is so great. Yeah.
We got to get from there back to Geometric Unity by Eric Weinstein, and we can like, and that's like the new one that's like kind of like opening with this. And then there's Jesse Michaels, who has this American Alchemist podcast, literally started on the Teal Fund, the Founders Fund, and he's just like investigating UFO tech, and is like does these like deep dives and like with these like astrophysicists and like engineers and shit like that on the tech behind it. If there's anyone who's gonna be let into the UFO and like point the camera this way, we're gonna show you how it flies. It's this kid. It's amazing. You're gonna like this guy.
I really loved Supernatural, the book from Graham Hancock, talking about really it's like a deep dive into art history and like the evidence of the spirit, you know, these the ineffable depictions that come through, and that book, very long, but goes through a really fascinating kind of tour of like human art history and the implications of contact with the other in whatever form. And makes a lot of, it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating and a neat angle to be like, okay, looking at the cave walls for example, like they're making meaning in some way and trying to communicate it in some way. Like,
Right.
That's exactly
these,
what
like,
we're still doing,
with
like
these Therian-
35,000 years later.
Right.
Dude.
These Therian
There's-
dropping figures on the wall of the Lascaux cave are very much the same as like the aliens in like Independence Day.
Right.
We're
And
just
dude-
trying to represent it.
Right.
You can thread the AI needle here, Neon, with like you can go back to Prometheus, and like Prometheus has several examples of AI, like the David character in Prometheus. Prometheus starts with these archaeologists like finding like star clusters on the walls. They chart it into like modern cartography, take the resources of a whole planet, pour it into a machine, like shoot it out into space to go find this stuff. That's where the Alien series gets kicked off. It's like a prequel. Honey. There's a couple of different levels of AI in that one, but the dude, there's somehow with these campfires we're gonna get back around to. I'm gonna send you the Colonial Day Accords, and you guys are gonna have like the entire Battlestar Galactica like epic. Like this is like this is a little space token that's coming your way. High in demand, and that's happening. And then so we can get back there. You've always talked about Frankenstein. We were talking about but the AI conversation in Battlestar Galactica is it is an untapped oasis of excellence that is
100%.
second to absolutely none. No one has taken it that far and run it through that many cycles of the human biopewter. It's the best.
Right.
Oh, so totally agree. It's the perfect. I like it. I love this so much that like where we want to go to sit around the campfire and just like feel good are these places of like absolute contemporary terror. AI. I'm like, yes, I'm so excited to dive into these waters. This
Aliens.
is so fun.
Yeah. Now,
this is where the integration can happen. This is where the healing can happen. This is where the liminal can become the whole integrated whole. I think we're talking about a whole that isn't here yet. People are going to watch this in our day and age and be like, what the? 5 years ago, they'd be like, blasé.
Whatever you did. I want to make sure
so silly.
From Lakshmi Ananda about what you took away from our time.
Excuse me. I just really enjoyed getting to hang, getting to listen, getting to learn, getting to enjoy off camera. It's been really fun. It's been deeply fun and meaningful and expansive. So thank you for asking. Thank you for asking.
You to be here,
Yeah. Oh, I love having your presence here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So fun.
Oh,
it is.
So much fun.
It is.
All right. Music, you guys. Music has been such a huge part of this. We got more music. As I was preparing for this one, our music really filled in the cracks in a lot of this mortar. But please continue.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
guys. Yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Did everyone get a chance to check in?
What's that?
Did everyone get a chance to check in?
Did you check in?
I feel so good. I feel good. The sigil's feeling good. Got a few notes for you though.
Yeah.
Dude, so let's leave it like this. Beautiful. What would we say to aliens if they showed up on the front yard?
Can I have a hug?
You can totally have a hug.
No, that's what I would say to the aliens.
That's what you'd say to the aliens. Can I have a hug?
Can I have a hug?
That's a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like good.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh no, I'm just thinking.
I love this question.
They really show up. They really are on your yard.
Right there.
I'm gonna ask, how long was the trip?
That's a good one.
We live in the Pacific of Delaware. It's like no. It's like 8 minutes by rail, like dude.
By rail
or whatever.
I'll say, have we met before?
Ooh, good.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good one. I like it.
I would say we would like to trade for the everything machine, and we would like it to be we would like it to be uncapped so it could make more of itself. We want a self-replicating everything machine where I can just be like, give me spaghetti Alfredo, and it's like, boom. Dude, start with food, but then get to construction materials. Then you get to like micro processing. I got a whole plan. Go ahead.
I trust. It's a snacks-oriented, an infinite snacks machine. Is
so on brand.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
On brand.
With unlimited
on brand.
power.
With unlimited pancake optionality. We want some seriously cosmic pancakes out of this machine here. You know, I want to leave you with this one thought here. Jacques Vallée is a French anthropologist, really. He's a story collector, and he's got loads of different books about this kind of stuff. But some of the most magnificent stuff is stuff that goes back to pre-technology times, when stuff crashed in like the 1700s in some little French town, and they had like a whole encounter with stuff coming out of it and all this stuff. There's so much of this kind of folkloric stuff that's out there that our modern era like doesn't really pay attention to it that much. But it was the talk of the time, and it was a really big deal. It tells a lot of these stories, and I read a book he had. There were so many of these stories that involved pancakes. That's where the tactical pancakes came from. So many of these aliens would show up and be like, "Do you have the grain?" And they'd be like, "Maybe." And they would give it, and they would wish to trade for pancakes, for basically grain cakes. I was telling this story to the guy who. This guy runs this community. His name is Chris. I forget his last name. It's called Area 52. It's all about. I joined his little community on Discord or whatever. And I went to some of his book club, and we were just cackling and laughing over this kind of stuff. He created a little video that was like that he reverse engineered the recipe that they were talking about in these UFO texts, and he made his own little celestial UFO pancakes. I thought that was like an insane victory for the pancakeans amongst us.
Great.
It's like, the pancakes go everywhere, dude. So let's end with a little tactical pancakes. This is Rebel PBS, the WoW signal. This was a cool song that we made, and it talks about the struggle to find the truth, I think. What would you say it talks about, you guys?
Yeah, it's about pure awe and wonder.
That's it.
Getting straight to the source.
And
of course.
And the vibe
on a horse, on some
the
horse.
The ontological shock of experiencing the oneness is the real one. This UFO, this is small fries by comparison. Are you saying this reality doesn't line up? It doesn't make sense? Oh, surprise! Fucking wind has it.
That's the line when it says, "Pot of coal."
Oh, take me home. Play me home, Sam.
Oh my God, absolutely. There's nothing else to see. Miracles are not just the image word mystery, dude. It's like there is something else in the human OS that is needed aside from just seeing it and just hearing it. You have to myth it somehow build your own shelf to start putting your own books on, for this kind of stuff.
Yes.
It goes in a lot of different directions. Well, high five. I'm really glad we've had an excellent time. And,
good work
with you.
Nice
Good work all. Here we go. Let's go down some really strong music.
Yes.
Love you guys. Take it easy.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
The source is a secret. The source is a song. I breathe through you, baby, like I rip through a bomb. To the source, but of course, to the you and me together, just as wild as we can be. Ride with me, burn bright as we blaze. Side by side we shine as we gallop through our days. To the source, to the source, on your horse, to the source. It's the source. It's the source. Just a horse, but of course, the source is a secret. The source is a song, and we've known each other all along. Forever and always, there's nothing else to see. You and me, baby, it's written in the breeze. To the source, on your horse, but of course, from the source, get on your horse, get on your horse, get on your horse, get on some horse. I'm the horse, I must find the horse. To the source, to the source, riding wild, riding free, you and me, partner, forever will be the true and very source.